At least 4 killed and 6 injured in landslide in western Nepal. 200 displaced residents sheltered as heavy rain raises further risk. Disaster threat grows across Tonkuta villages in Nepal. 120 families at risk as monsoon rains intensify. Nepal government proposes major overhaul of Law Commission. Law minister set to become chairperson under new bill. Iran links Hormuz shipping resumption to U.S. guarantees. Tehran continues Oman talks as Qatar rejects pilot detention claim. 51 killed and thousands evacuated post-Indonesia earthquake. 7.7 magnitude quake triggers landslides and blocks roads. And Bangladesh makes history with test win over Australia. 9-wicket victory gives visitors 1-0 series lead. Good evening, I am April Singh Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News. We're coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in detail. At least 4 people have died and 6 others have been injured in a landslide triggered by incessant rain in Bheri municipality to Jajarkot in western Nepal. The victims have been identified as 70-year-old Bhim Bahadur Karki, 87-year-old Rati Khatri, his 54-year-old son Uma Singh Khatri and 52-year-old Kedar Karki, who died while receiving treatment at a medical college in Kohalpur. Around 200 people from 70 households displaced by the landslide have been sheltered at Tribun Basic School, while residents from several other vulnerable settlements have also been moved to safer locations. Karnali provincial government has dispatched tarpaulins, blankets, food and tents, while authorities say immediate relief and longer-term rehabilitation will be provided to affected families. Now, with heavy rain continuing and the area remaining at high risk of further landslides, security personnel have been deployed to assist with rescue, evacuation and relief operations. The risk of landslides is increasing across Sangurigadi rural municipality in eastern Nepal's Tonkuta district as the monsoon brings heavy rainfall, leaving residents in several villages increasingly vulnerable. Dadua village in Ward 7 is among the worst affected areas where landslides on both sides of the settlement have displaced at least 7 of the 27 households living there over the years. More than 24 locations across the municipality's 10 wards are considered landslide prone, with around 120 families facing risk and more than a dozen families already displaced. The local government is relocating the most vulnerable households and has begun tree plantation, retaining wall construction and geological assessments to reduce the threat. Experts say the area's steep terrain, rivers, fragile hills and the newly constructed roads are contributing to increased landslides and soil erosion, particularly during the monsoon season. Similarly, Nepal government will send geological study teams to landslide-hit areas of Rolpa, Bazura and Jajarkot within 3 days to assess risks and guide relief and rehabilitation efforts. Authorities have also urged local governments to expedite temporary housing and warned communities to remain vigilant as monsoon rains increase the risk of landslides, floods and inundation. Now, in a bid to mitigate the risks posed by monsoon-related disasters, Nepal government has been carrying out preparedness, relief and rescue operations across all 77 districts. However, incidents of monsoon-induced disasters are on a rise in recent days, prompting authorities to urge public to remain vigilant. Sabika Shrestha along with Pawan Barsha brings more.
The Nepal government has intensified preparedness, rescue and relief efforts across all 77 districts as monsoon-related disasters continue to rise in several parts of the country. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority has urged residents to remain on high alert in the hilly and mountainous areas of all provinces except Kosi and Madhya, citing a heightened risk of landslides during the mid-monsoon period. The authority has issued particular warnings for the high hilly and mountainous areas of Sudur Paschim, Karnali and Gandaki provinces where heavy rainfall and landslides have posed the greatest risk in recent days. Meanwhile, the hilly areas of Bagmati and Lumbini provinces also remain vulnerable to landslides and floods. Authorities have called on the public to closely monitor weather and disaster-related updates and follow safety advice issued by government agencies, media outlets, and disaster management experts.
आफू सँगसँगै अरू समुदायलाई पनि सूचना दिने गर्नुपर्छ भने आफ्नो वासस्थान रहेको स्थान चाहिँ कतिको सुरक्षित छ कि छैन त्यहाँ जस्तो पहिरो जाने भन्दा अगाडि पनि केही संकेतहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यसपछि माटो अलि बढी भिजेको हुन्छ कहीँ चिरा परेको हुन सक्छ कहीँ ठाउँहरू रुखहरू अलि ढल्केकाहरू हुन सक्छन् यस्ता विषयमा पनि ध्यान दिनु पर्यो विशेष गरी रातिको समयमा चाहिँ हामी निन्द्रामा पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ पहिरोमाथि अडाएर घरै पुरिएर धेरै मानिसहरूको हताहती भएको पनि हामीले घटना सुनेका छौं राति पनि यस्तो अवस्था छ भने सुत्नु पनि भएन के सुत्नु भएन वा बेलुका नै सुरक्षित कहीं स्थानमा गएर केही दिनको लागि गर्नुपर्छ भने लङ लास्टिङमा चाहिँ हामीले त्यस्तो असुरक्षित स्थानमा बस्नु हुँदैन.
Since the onset of the monsoon, at least 65 persons have died in rain-related incidents, including floods, landslides, inundation, and lightning strikes as of Sunday, while 119 others have been injured. In addition, 8 persons remain missing and 1,414 households have been directly affected by monsoon-related disasters, according to authorities. The authority estimates that more than 226,000 persons from around 51,800 households across the country could be affected by disasters during this monsoon season. A disaster response plan has been implemented across all 77 districts in coordination with the federal, provincial, and local governments. Relief supplies have been pre-positioned while designated contact persons have been assigned in each district to facilitate a swift response during emergencies. Meanwhile, the government have also urged people to use the emergency number 1234 in the event of a disaster. Calls are routed to the 24-hour disaster call center in the district, from where the call is made with a mechanism in a place to mobilize rescue teams within 30 minutes of receiving an alert. Sabika Shrestha, NTV World.
Monsoon winds are continuing to affect Nepal with cloudy conditions and rainfall reported across several parts of the country today. Department of Hydrology and Meteorology says moderate rain is occurring in many areas of Bagmati and Gandaki provinces, with some rainfall in Lumbini and Karnali and isolated showers in the hills of Koshi province. Further rain accompanied by thunder and lightning was predicted this afternoon, particularly across the mountainous and hilly regions of Gandaki, Lumbini, Karnali and Sudur Paschim provinces. Heavy rainfall is also likely in parts of Gandaki and Karnali, as well as isolated areas of Lumbini and Sudur Paschim, raising the risk of weather-related disruptions. Authorities have urged people to take necessary precautions and stay updated as the rain could affect agriculture, health, tourism, roads, aviation and other daily activities. Nepal's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Sisir Khanal, has expressed deep sorrow over the loss of lives and property caused by a powerful earthquake in Indonesia. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Indonesia, killing 51 people and displacing nearly 5,000 others, according to the provided information. Minister Khanal said Nepal, which has experienced the devastating impact of major earthquakes, understands the pain and suffering caused by such disasters. On behalf of the government and people of Nepal, Minister Khanal conveyed sympathy and solidarity to Indonesia and prayed for the safety and rescue of those affected, missing or displaced. Minister Khanal also called for speedy relief and rehabilitation for communities impacted by the disaster. Indian Army Chief General Dheeraj Seth is arriving in Nepal today for a 4-day visit at the invitation of Nepal's Chief of Army Staff, General Ashok Raj Sigdel. President and Supreme Commander of the Nepali Army, Ram Chandra Paudel, is scheduled to confer the honorary rank of General of the Nepali Army on Seth at a ceremony at the President's office tomorrow. The two army chiefs are also expected to hold bilateral talks at Army headquarters, focusing on military cooperation and long-standing defense ties. Nepal and India have maintained close military relations through high-level visits, joint exercises, training and exchanges of expertise. The tradition of awarding honorary general ranks to each other's army chiefs dates back to 1950 and is regarded as a symbol of friendship and mutual respect between the two countries. Let's take a short break here. We'll be back with more updates. Former Nepali Congress President and former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba has reaffirmed his full faith in Nepal's judiciary, saying the courts have delivered justice to him and his party since the Panchayat era. Speaking at the conclusion of a 3-day national gathering of the party's founding faction, Deuba thanked party leaders and cadres for their support and goodwill, saying he would not forget their backing. Deuba returned to Nepal on Thursday after receiving medical treatment abroad for 5 months. Meeting coordinator and former Nepali Congress General Secretary Dr. Sasank Koirala said the gathering aimed to strengthen unity within the party and brought leaders and cadres together while endorsing resolutions on preparations for the party's 15th General Convention, freedom to practice Sanatana Dharma and constitutional amendments. The faction did not participate in the Nepali Congress Special Convention held from January 27 to 30, which elected Gagan Kumar Thapa as party president and a new Central Working Committee, and has continued to challenge the convention's legality.
पहिलेको पार्टी अधिवेशन मैले भने पनि थिएन त्यो चाहिँ यसलाई मैले भनेको थिएँ सबै पार्टीको सहमतिले गरौँ विशेष महाधिवेशन यसरी नगर्नु भन्दा भन्दै जबरजस्ती विशेष महाधिवेशन गरेर अन्यपूर्ण तरिकालाई धेरै साथीहरूलाई बाहिर राख्यो त्यसको खिलाफमा हामीले अदालतमा गयौँ अदालतले भनेको छ यो त अन्याय भयो भनेर मलाई विश्वास छ अदालतको पूर्ण पाठाउनु बाँकी छ अदालतको पूर्ण निर्णय आउनु बाँकी छ
Nepali educationist and professor Harsha Narayan Thobadil has died at the age of 90 in Calgary, Canada, after a prolonged battle with Parkinson's disease. Thobadil served Tribhuvan University, Nepal's oldest and largest university, for 36 years in various roles, including professor, campus chief, dean and executive director of the Center for Educational Research, Innovation and Development. He also served as Nepal's ambassador to India and Bhutan in 1994-95 and was a member of the commission that investigated the Dastunga incident. Thobadil played an active role in Nepal's 1990 democratic movement, leading the Professors Association, and later contributed to children's education and welfare through the organization Seto Guras. Thobadil had been living in Canada with his daughter for several years before his death. Now, the government has registered a bill in the House of Representatives to amend the Nepal Law Commission Act 2063 BS. The bill proposes making the Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs the chairperson, with 1 vice chairperson and 3 full-time members. It also proposes granting the Commission powers to conduct legal studies, recommend reforms and draft bills for government ministries when required. The Commission would be allowed to hire experts when necessary and prepare bills for provincial and local governments within 90 days of receiving a request. The proposed amendments aim to make Nepal's law-making process more systematic, qualitative, uniform and responsive to the needs of all 3 levels of government. Nepal's District Administration Office in Morang has sealed 7 eye hospitals in Biratnagar, citing violations of health services law and operating standards. The facilities Birat Eye Hospital, Sanjeevani Eye Care, Himal Eye Hospital, Birat Rani Eye Hospital, Akhand Jyoti Eye Hospital, Nepal Eye Hospital and Ifra Eye Hospital were padlocked on August 12 and 13 following inspections. Authorities said the hospitals were not operating in line with Nepal's Public Health Service Act 2018, Public Health Service Regulations 2021 and relevant health institution standards. The hospital operators have accused the district administration of exceeding its jurisdiction, arguing that the Provincial Health Directorate is responsible for monitoring and regulating facilities registered under it. They have formed a struggle committee and warned of further protest programs if the lockouts are not lifted immediately. Moving on, yak farming in Nepal's Bagmati province has failed to gain expected momentum despite years of government investment through livestock promotion programs. Farmers say the sector is being hit by youth migration, shrinking grazing areas, livestock diseases and the high cost of replacing animals, while the shortage of local yaks has forced some farmers to transport animals from Thangari to Raswa for breeding. They are calling for stronger government support, including assured markets for milk and dairy products, livestock insurance, yak purchases and targeted subsidies to make the business commercially viable. Official figures from the Animal Services Office in Dhading show the number of yaks in Ruby Valley rural municipality has fallen sharply from around 1,200 7 years ago to about 300 today. Farmers say government funding must be matched by effective implementation and infrastructure development to prevent further decline in the sector. Now, a 60-year-old man was injured after a tiger entered a settlement in Rapti Municipality 1 Chitwan in southern Nepal on Thursday morning. The tiger, which entered the area from Chitwan National Park at around 6:40 a.m., attacked Thakur Adhikari, who is receiving treatment at Bharatpur Government Hospital, police said. The tiger also attacked and injured a Jersey cow inside a local cow shed, raising concern among residents about the growing risk of human-wildlife conflict. A team from Chitwan National Park, the National Trust for Nature Conservation and other agencies used elephants to track and control the tiger, which was captured at around 11:30 a.m. The animal has been handed over to Chitwan National Park for further management, while locals are urging authorities to strengthen wildlife monitoring and response systems to protect people and livestock. Time again for a short breather. We shall be back with international updates. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said Tehran is continuing talks with Oman on shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz, but warns reopening the waterway will depend on the U.S. upholding the MOU signed in June. Araghchi said Iran wants guarantees that the agreement will be respected before normal shipping can resume through the strategic waterway. The Strait of Hormuz remains a critical global energy route, carrying a significant share of the world's oil and gas shipment. Meanwhile, Qatar denies Iran's claims that it is holding captive 3 Iranian pilots whose planes crashed in the Gulf state in the early days of the U.S. and Israel's war. Now, at least 5 persons have been killed in overnight Russian strikes on Ukraine, according to Ukrainian officials, as Moscow and Kyiv continue an escalating exchange of drones and missile attacks. Ukraine said its forces shot down 3 Russian missiles and nearly 100 drones during the overnight barrage. Now, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said about 600 Ukrainian drones were launched towards the Russian capital overnight, describing the attack as one of the largest in recent times. In Russia, a warehouse belonging to Wild Berries, one of the country's largest online retailers, was also hit. Russian officials said air defenses intercepted drones targeting Moscow and surrounding areas. The latest strikes come amid a sharp escalation in long-range attacks by both sides in recent weeks, with Russia and Ukraine increasingly targeting military, industrial and logistics infrastructure far from the front line. In other news, around 5,000 persons have been evacuated after a magnitude 7.7 earthquake smashed an area in eastern Indonesia, killing at least 51, blocking roads and causing landslides, authorities said on Sunday. 36 people were seriously injured in the Saturday morning quake in East Nusa Tenggara province, while 77 had minor injuries. The quake, followed by some 341 aftershocks, is the Southeast Asian nation's worst in years. Hundreds died after a 2022 earthquake in West Java, Indonesia, a sprawling archipelago of 290 million people, straddles the Pacific Ring of Fire, a seismically active zone where tectonic plates meet, triggering frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Strong winds and torrential rain are lashing Hawaii after Category 1 Hurricane Lala skirted Big Island on Saturday. Hawaii Governor Josh Green said Lala got closer to South Point area, where a person died in weather-related car accident. Lala gained hurricane strength on Saturday after generating 130 kilometers per hour wind speeds, which have since peaked at 91, and it could dump up to 63 centimeters of rain and produce a 3-foot storm surge. Tens of thousands have been left without power, and officials have warned people to prepare for life-threatening conditions, including floods and mudslides. The storm is forecast to continue moving westward just south of Hawaii into Sunday morning. Moroccan authorities have intercepted dozens of migrants seeking to cross into the Spanish North African enclave of Ceuta, reports say. More than 100 people were blocked trying to make their way to the border on the outskirts of the town on Nidec, according to Moroccan security sources cited by Spanish media. It comes a fortnight after roughly 78,000 migrants arrived in the enclave by sea in a matter of hours, 100 of whom died, according to the city's mayor, who also said the vast majority of arrivals had returned to Morocco. Security had been stepped up in the area after the influx and amid suggestions on social media of a second mass crossing attempt this weekend. Let's take another short breather. We shall be back with more updates. Japanese scientists are readying a mission to Mars's moons to retrieve samples that may unlock the origins of the solar system and life on Earth, although a rival Chinese mission aims to make it back first. The Unmanned Martian Moons Exploration, MMX, set to blast off from Tanegashima Space Center in the coming months, could also lay the groundwork for humans visiting the Red Planet. The spacecraft, revealed to media last Thursday, will stay in Mars orbit for around 3 years and will attempt to land on Phobos. Scientists hope samples from Phobos will provide clues about whether the moon is a captured asteroid or was formed from material ejected by a massive impact on Mars. Japan's mission is also expected to test technologies that could support future robotic and human exploration for the Martian system. In other news, a 27-year-old woman in Vienna has sued the city arguing that its public toilet system discriminates against women because men can use certain urinals free of charge while women must pay 50 cents to access toilet stalls. Activist Milani Gradek said the policy creates unequal access to public sanitation and called for men and women to either pay the same fee or use public toilets free of charge. The lawsuit is challenging the municipality's current fee structure and has raised questions over equal access to public facilities in the Austrian capital. The dispute has drawn attention to wider concerns over whether public services should impose different costs on men and women. Now, Hong Kong-born giant panda twins Jia Jia and Day Day celebrated their second birthday at Ocean Park, drawing large crowds despite rainy weather. The twins, who remain with their mother, could soon be separated as they approach the age when pandas typically begin living independently. The pandas have become a major tourist attraction, with visitors returning regularly to see and photograph them. Authorities are also launching panda-themed buses, trams and exhibitions throughout the birthday month as part of the celebrations. The birthday celebrations also highlight Hong Kong's growing efforts to promote conservation awareness while using the popular pandas to attract visitors. Time now for Sports Update. Bangladesh have secured a historic 9-wicket victory over Australia in the first test in Darwin, recording their first test win on Australian soil. Australia, who scored 198 in their first innings, were bowled out for 284 in the second after Bangladesh posted 426, leaving the visitors a target of just 57 runs. Bangladesh reached the target for the loss of 1 wicket with Mominul Haq unbeaten on 30 and Sadman Islam on 25. Mehdi Hassan Miraj took 5 wickets for 66 runs in Australia's second innings, while Hassan Mahmood was named player of the match after taking 9 wickets in the match. Cameron Green's 104 was Australia's only major batting contribution in the second innings, but it could not prevent Bangladesh from taking a 1-0 lead in the 2-test series. The inaugural edition of the Men's Nepal Volleyball League is scheduled to take place in Kathmandu from September 1 to 12, according to the organizers. 6 franchise teams: Annapurna Spiker Kings, Karnali Sivaraj, Kathmandu Reds, Koptad Falcons, Madhes Warriors and Sagarmatha Smashers will compete at the National Sports Council multi-purpose covered hall in Tripureshwar. The teams have already signed domestic players through an auction, while preparations are underway to recruit foreign players. The league, organized by Kadir Group under the slogan New Flight of Heights, is expected to bring a franchise-based structure to men's volleyball in Nepal. Organizers and stakeholders hope the competition will help professionalize the sport and create greater opportunities for Nepali male volleyball players. Before wrapping up, let's take a look at the headlines once again. At least 4 killed and 6 injured in landslide in western Nepal. 200 displaced residents sheltered as heavy rain raises further risk. Disaster threat grows across Thonkuta villages in Nepal. 120 families at risk as monsoon rains intensify. Nepal government proposes major overhaul of law commission. Law minister set to become chairperson under new bill. Iran links Hormuz shipping resumption to U.S. guarantees. Tehran continues Oman talks as Qatar rejects pilot detention claim. 51 killed and thousands evacuated post-Indonesia earthquake. 7.7 magnitude quake triggers landslides and blocks roads. And Bangladesh makes history with test win over Australia. 9-wicket victory gives visitors 1-0 series lead. That's all for the moment. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by.
Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Welcome to the Hinterlands on NTV World. This weekly show brings together stories from the hinterlands of Nepal, takes you beyond the cities and highways into the heart of Nepal's rural landscapes. I am Rosina Rai. We begin in Bardia district, where cotton was once more than just a crop. Known as the district white gold, cotton once covered hundreds of hectares, turning fields into stretches of snow-white blooms. But today, these fields are almost disappeared. What happened to Bardia's cotton, and why are farmers turning away from a crop that once defined the district? More in this report.
The white gold of Bardia is turning to stubble, where cotton once stretched across hundreds of hectares of committee land. The crops now stand in its place, and with them a century-old identity is fading field by field. Cotton cultivation was once one of the defining identities of Bardia. Hundreds of sharecropping farmers made their living cultivating cotton on land belonging to the Cotton Development Committee. Today, that same land is increasingly planted with other crops. Farmers say cotton farming demands heavy labor. Pest infestation is high in areas surrounded by forest, and the income no longer matches the cost of production, and labor making cotton, once profitable, increasingly unviable. The link between farmers and the committee itself was also broken, its physical infrastructure destroyed during the armed conflict and never fully rebuilt.
कपाल विकास समितिसित जोइन थियौं त्यति वर्षसम्म त्यहाँसम्म करारको हिसाबले जे जति तिर्नु पर्थ्यो सरकारलाई त्यो तिरिराखेको थियो अनि दण्डकालमा यो भौतिक संरचनासम्म ध्वस्त भइसकेपछि कपाल विकास समितिको र किसानहरूको सम्बन्ध विच्छेद भयो त्यो विच्छेद पश्चात हामी किसानहरू यो जग्गाको संरक्षण गर्दै खेती गरिरहेछौं
यो कपास विकासको जग्गामा 2 बिघा 2045 सालदेखि म जोड्दैछु छु.
Sharecropping farmers who have traditionally grown cotton continue to occupy and cultivate committee land. In some areas, landless quarters and unorganized settlers have also moved onto the land. According to Bir Bahadur Tharu, ward chairperson of Bhadayatal Rural Municipality 9, applications have been registered under landless Dalit, landless quarter and unorganized settler categories based on possession and cultivation. Land measurement and mapping certificates have already been distributed.
उहाँहरूलाई यो ठाउँमा जग्गा जुन जोड्नु भएको छ त्यो जोटेको आधारले नेपाल सरकारले खोलेको भूमिहीन सुकुम्बासी अव्यवस्थित बसोबासी र दलित भूमिहीन सुकुम्बासी भनेर जुन 3 प्रकारको सूचना खोलेको थियो त्यस मध्येमा उहाँहरूले अव्यवस्थित र भूमिहीन सुकुम्बासी र भूमिहीन दलित भनेर भर्नु भएको छ त्यो मध्येमा हामी चाहिँ निवेदनको ढाँचा अनुरूप निस्सा प्रमाण चाहिँ हामीले उहाँहरूलाई वितरण गरेका छौं र त्यो जग्गा हालसम्म नै अहिलेसम्म किसान शेरजोटाहरूकै परिवारले चाहिँ जोडभोग गरिराखेको छ.
Committee land has been encroached upon under various pretexts. Around 558 hectares of land at the cotton farm in Kumbhar, spanning Barwadia Municipality 10 and Bhadayatal Rural Municipality 9, was encroached upon in 2001-2002 AD. Of that land, the government has already distributed 93.7 hectares to freed Kamayas. The Cotton Development Committee says its land is spread across 3 local levels in Bardia, but encroachment combined with the prolonged failure to cultivate cotton is steadily eroding the farm's original purpose. The numbers tells their own story. The committee once recorded 378 sharecropping farmers. That number has now crossed 1,700, even as the crop they were meant to grow keeps disappearing from the ground beneath them. More farmers, less cotton. What was once Bardia's defining crop now risks becoming nothing more than a line in its history books.
From a renowned agribusiness that slowly faded away from Bardia district to one attempting to make a comeback. After nearly 25 years of closure, the state-owned Hetauda textile industry has resumed trial production. Now the government is testing whether this once important industry can be commercially revived and how much it can actually produce. The Hetera textile industry has resumed trial production, raising hopes for the revival of the long-closed state-owned factory. A team from the Nepal Army's Directorate of Production has repaired and tested the machinery at the industry and begun trial operations. According to the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies, initial tests have confirmed that the machines are operational and that the industry has the potential to resume production. The government plans to operate 10 machines in the first phase. Some machines have already been brought into operation, while others are undergoing repairs and calibration. Once the trial production is completed, the Nepal Army will submit a detailed report to the government. The report will assess the total output during the trial, the conditions of the machinery, and the feasibility of operating the industry on a commercial basis. Based on the report, the government will decide how and at what capacity the industry should be brought back into operation. Officials say preparations are also underway for a formal inauguration once all the machines are fully operational. At full capacity, the industry could produce around 28,000 meters of fabric a day. The monsoon means greenery, fresh crops, and relief from the summer heat. But for people living along the river banks, it can mean something very different and heartbreaking as well. In Susta of West Nawalparasi, the Narayani River returns every monsoon with a familiar threat. Once again, residents are spending days and nights building temporary embankments and settlements, trying to hold back the river and protect what is theirs. A report.
The Narayani River has been rapidly eroding the banks of Susta in southern Nepal for years, and the story is no different this monsoon as well. The continuous encroachment of the banks has pushed the human settlement at growing risk, and the locals are working day and night to hold back the floodwaters. Susta lies in West Nawalparasi district of Lumbini province, along the stretch of Narayani River that forms part of the boundary between Nepal and India. About a week ago, as swollen Narayani began moving toward the settlement, men and women from the community have been working almost continuously to build a temporary barrier against the river in the most vulnerable sections. Locals from the Save Susta campaign have also been filling sacks with soil and reinforcing the temporary barrier, but remain uncertain whether it will hold if the river continues to rise.
जनता खट रहा है, बहुत लोग गरीब आदमी है, भूखे मर रहे हैं, बाकी अब बचाए कि अब खाना कैसे करें। आप आपके सामने है, देख ही रहे हैं कि कैसे बचेगा सुस्ता, कैसे नहीं बचेगा, वो ही हम लोग लागे हुए हैं।
The urgency is linked to an embankment project that remains only partially complete. Earlier this year, Nepal's federal government committed more than 110 million rupees to build permanent flood protection along the most vulnerable sections of Susta after identifying the settlement as being at serious risk. While one section of the embankment has been completed, work on another critical stretch stalled after the contract was awarded, amid objections raised by the Indian side of the border. The Narayani River is now eroding the land most severely at this unfinished section, raising concerns among residents about further damage. After 4 days of working on their own to build a temporary embankment, local residents have now been joined by security personnel and all three levels of government in the effort.
132 मिटरको अर्को ठेक्का भएर पनि भारतीय फौजको अरूले त्यो काम गर्न नसक्दा त्यही ठाउँबाट अहिले पुरै नदी हाम्रो नदीको धार नै आएपछि यो भूमि कटानको उच्च जोखिममा छ। मलाई खुसी के लाग्छ, म हिजोदेखिको राज्यको जुन यहाँ उपस्थिति देखेको छु, अहिले सुस्तावासीको दुखमा पुरै राज्यको हरेक शक्ति हरेक निकायहरु लागेको छ। केन्द्रबाट अघि भर्खर विभागबाट त्यो मन्त्रीजीको निर्देशन भएर हाम्रो सिँचाइ मन्त्रीको निर्देशन भएर डिडिजी आएर यहाँ एकचोटि अनुगमन गरेर गइसक्नु भयो र केही काम गर्न निर्देशन दिइसक्नु भयो.
Federal and provincial government agencies are also continuing to assist local residents with river control efforts.
आज मात्र हामीले हाम्रो कार्यालयमा यहाँ हाम्रो फुकल पर्सन जयसवालजीले चाहिँ गाडी पठाइसक्नु भएको छ र 100 थान ग्याबिन जाली र 3000 थान बोरा हिजो हामीले ल्याइसकेका छौँ.
यहाँबाट पानी कटान भएर पानी यता पस्न नदिन यो गाउँ बचाउनको लागि चाहिँ के गर्न सकिन्छ भनेर हामी अब सबै हाम्रो सङ्घीय सरकार मार्फत हाम्रो आयोजनाले अब इमर्जेन्सीको लागि यो बोराहरू यो जालीहरू चाहिँ उ गर्ने हैन भर्ने यहाँ लडाउने रुखहरू काटेर अगाडि राख्ने अब हामीसँग भएको पर्को पानीहरू पनि हामीले अगाडि राखेर चाहिँ हामीले नदीको फ्लोलाई चाहिँ डाइभर्ट गर्ने प्रयास चाहिँ हामीले निरन्तर गरिरहेछौँ.
Despite all these efforts, residents know that the temporary embankment can only provide limited protection and is not a substitute for the permanent structure that they have been waiting for.
From living alongside a powerful force of nature to celebrating our connections with wildlife, this is the story of Nepal's hinterlands. Have you ever heard of an elephant picnic? In Sauraha, Chitwan, elephants take center stage during an annual festival held to mark World Elephant Day. The event is more than a celebration. It is a reminder of the need to protect forest, conserve elephants, and build a better relationship between people and wildlife. The 15th World Elephant Day has been marked in Sauraha of Chitwan with a special feast for elephants. The annual event aims to promote human-wildlife harmony, protect forest and raise awareness about elephant conservation. It also highlights the important role elephants play in promoting tourism in Chitwan. As part of the celebration, dozens of captive and wild elephants were served their favorite foods, including sugarcane, pumpkin, rice, and fruits. Nepal is home to two major populations of Asian elephants. The eastern population ranges from Chapa to Chitwan, while the western population extends from Kapilvastu to Kanchanpur. The country is estimated to have around 230 wild elephants, a population that has gradually increased despite ongoing conservation and management challenges.
चितवन राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जले हात्तीको कल्याणको लागि चाहिँ काम गर्छ. चितवन राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्ज हात्तीहरू धेरै भएको चाहिँ मालिक भएको हुनाले चाहिँ हामीसँग चाहिँ 30वटा भाले हात्ती र 26वटा पोथी हात्ती छन्. चितवन राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जले त पर्यापर्यटन भन्दा पनि यहाँहरुको पर्यापर्यटन छ. हामीले त संरक्षणको हरेक क्रियाकलापमा चाहिँ हात्तीको प्रयोग गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. त्यो भएको हुनाले सरकारी हात्ती र चाहिँ प्राइभेट निजी रूपमा चाहिँ पालिएका क्याप्टिभ एलिफेन्टहरूको चाहिँ उचित व्यवस्थापन गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ र यसको लागि चाहिँ चितवन राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्ज पनि तत्त्वचित्त भएर.
Around 100 elephants are also kept in captivity across the country under both government and private management. Chitwan National Park alone has 58 captive elephants, including 45 in Sauraha. Meanwhile, around 150 wild elephants regularly move across the Nepal-India border, highlighting the importance of transboundary conservation efforts. Nepal's elephant conservation efforts are guided by the Elephant Conservation Action Plan for the year 2025-35, legal protections under the National Parks and Wildlife Conservation Act, and community-based initiatives aimed at promoting human-elephant coexistence. Nepal also works closely with India on transboundary conservation, promotes community-based forestry, and enforces anti-poaching measures while improving the welfare and management of captive elephants used in protected areas. And finally, we head to the highlands of eastern Nepal. Here, a rare flower is turning the landscape around Thimbung Lake into a striking natural canvas. The seasonal blooming of the Kinzo flower has attracted visitors to Pastor, eager to witness this rare alpine beauty. For a short time each year, the hills come alive with color and Timbung Lake becomes a destination for nature lovers. Tourists are flocking to Timbung Lake in eastern Nepal to witness the spectacular bloom of a rare alpine plant, Kinzo, locally known as Padamchal, also known as the Himalayan May apple. Reaching Timbung Lake requires nearly 3 days of trekking through rock-high mountain trails. But the challenging journey has not discouraged visitors, as the seasonal bloom of Kinzo has emerged as one of the area's major attractions. During the blooming season, the flowers carpet the surrounding hillsides, adding to the beauty of the high-altitude landscape. Visitors are drawn not only by the blossoms, but also by the pristine environment, panoramic mountain views, and the scenic beauty of Timbung Lake. Kinzo is a medicinal herb found in Nepal's high-altitude regions and is valued for its medicinal properties.
पहेँलो लामो लामो ठुलो जरा हुन्छ यो चिन्न सकिन्छ अरु औषधिमा यो सबैभन्दा ठुलो मोटो यसको जरा हुन्छ यसको हामीले अब जानेसम्मको चाहिँ यो जिउ दुख्ने ग्यास्ट्रिक हुनेलाई कोही लडेको सड्के मड्केकोलाई पनि काम लाग्छ अरे यो.
The plant generally begins flowering in mid-July, reaching full bloom by late July and early August. The white blossoms spread across alpine meadows and hillsides during the monsoon season, creating a striking natural spectacle. For visitors, it offers a rare opportunity to experience the Himalayan landscape at its most beauty. The growing interest in Timbung Lake brings the prospect of new economic opportunities through tourism as well. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters above sea level, Timbung Lake is known for both its natural beauty and religious significance. With the tourist numbers growing, local communities see considerable potential to develop the area as a destination for nature-based and adventure tourism. But as more visitors arrive to witness the natural spectacle, the challenge is to balance tourism development with the conservation of the fragile Himalayan environment.
पर्यटकहरू जाने गर्ने त्यो केन्जर उखेल्ने कामहरू भइराखेका छन् हैन त्यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति अब हामीले मात्र वडा र गाउँपालिकाले मात्र हेरेर साध्य पनि नहुने जस्तो छन् अब कार्यक्रम चाहिँ त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ जडीबुटी संरक्षण गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ विभिन्न निकायहरू नै अगाडि बढ्दा चाहिँ त्यहाँ संरक्षण गर्न सकिन्थ्यो कि.
If managed sustainably, Timbung Lake could emerge as one of eastern Nepal's promising high-altitude tourism destinations. Disappearing crops to industry making a comeback, communities fighting for the river, and landscape blooming with rare alpine beauty. These are the stories from Nepal's hinterlands. Thank you for joining us. Do follow us on our website, nepaltelevision.com, social media handles, and the YouTube channel. Goodbye for now.
Welcome to Declassified Beyond the Brief with me, Devendra Subedi. Today we bring you the story from the alleys of Kathmandu to NASDAQ, which is the US stock exchange. The gentleman we have with us today recently hit headlines in Nepal as a successful entrepreneur whose company, Fuse Machines, a company working in the field of artificial intelligence, which we call AI, made its debut at the NASDAQ or the US stock exchange. In this episode of Declassified, we try to explore the journey of a successful Nepali in global business arena. Artificial intelligence itself, changing trends in global business world, Nepali identity abroad, and much more.
Dr. Samir Maske, a change maker, computer scientist and educator, has spent his career at the crossroads of innovation and education. He believes artificial intelligence isn't just transforming industries, it's reshaping opportunity itself. In 2013, he founded Fuse Machines, a New York-based company with a bold mission to democratize AI and make its benefits accessible to all. Though headquartered in the United States, its roots and much of its talent remain deeply connected to Nepal, where the company first launched its AI fellowship program, training local engineers and students in cutting-edge technology. Over the past decade, Fuse Machines has empowered thousands of AI learners and built advanced solutions across finance, healthcare, retail, and media, bridging academics and industry. Its proprietary platform, AI Studio, drives predictive and generative AI systems, helping businesses automate decisions, detect fraud, and make sense of data at scale. Listed on NASDAQ in October 2025, Fuse Machines reached a valuation of about $200 million. From Kathmandu to New York, Dr. Maske's vision proves that innovation and education can bridge worlds, turning intelligence into opportunity.
Please welcome Dr. Samir Maske, founder and CEO of Fuse Machine.
Thank you for having me here.
Dr. Maske, is the joy of being listed in NASDAQ still soaking in?
Definitely. It was a very long, arduous, hard journey to get listed in NASDAQ. And it's a relief, obviously. And it's slowly sinking in that we're actually now listed in NASDAQ and we're a public company.
So we're pretty lucky because we caught you in person here in Kathmandu, because you're basically based in your headquarters in New York. Is it a holiday trip after that success?
It's partly holiday trip, partly work. So my family, my mother, sister, brother, or basically pretty much all of my extended family is here. So I'm here to see them. And then because how difficult the process was, the usual trips I used to make multiple times a year, I had not been able to make it for almost last 12 months to see all the colleagues and employees here in Nepal office. So part of it is just coming back to see everyone and see all the colleagues in Fuse Machines, Nepal.
It will be an interesting conversation with Dr. Samir Maske, but initially what we're going to do is we are going to go to the roots of Dr. Maske. Let's start with your journey, Dr. Maske. Can you tell us more about your journey from the alleys of Kathmandu, I'd prefer to say it, to NASDAQ?
Definitely. So I was born and raised in Nepal. Yeah, so as a child, I would run in the gullies of Tamil. That's where I grew up. I went to school here. Finished my SLC, it's called ACE now, and the ISE, and now it's mostly plus 10 plus 2 and A-levels and so forth. So I finished my ISE, taking science as a subject. And during my last year, I applied for colleges in the US. I got a scholarship into a few colleges, and that's when my journey to the United States started. Went to the US, to Bates College. It's a small college up in Maine, and studied math and physics. and then went on to do a PhD in AI because I was interested in computer science. I was interested in making machines talk, making machines understand us. And so that research passion led me doing a PhD, after which I joined IBM Watson Research Center, where I continued to do research on speech-to-speech translation system, like English to French, German, Chinese, Arabic, many different kinds of speech-to-speech translation systems, question answering systems, deep question answering systems and whatnot. And as I did that for quite a while, after some time, I left IBM and then started teaching AI courses at Columbia University, and then also started Fuse Machines, which was also based on basically all the learnings I had done on AI and thinking about how to turn that into a business.
It is an interesting fact that Dr. Samir Maske is currently an adjunct associate professor at the University of Columbia teaching AI. So it's not just business, right? Can you tell us more about how your academics helped you build a business?
Education has been very close to my heart for a long time. My mom was a school teacher, it's a Bhagwan Bal, as this primary school. So I'd seen her teach all these kids, and when I used to come back from school, I could see her teaching, and so forth, and would wait outside. So, and I've seen over the years how education, the students she has taught to all these kids have grown up now and are successful in their own businesses or education and so forth. So academia has always been very close and always been very interested in it, and that's why I ended up doing a PhD. Like, research was a passion, knowledge was a passion. So because of that, when I was in my undergrad and I was studying math and physics, I wanted to build a speech synthesis system. And that led me to a library where I found a book and then started reading about it and taught myself how to build a speech synthesizer. And that started my academic journey on AI, like almost 25 years ago.
So you started your journey into AI, doing research, your academics in AI almost 25 years ago.
Yes, when nobody cared about AI. Right now, AI is, like, everybody talks about AI, but 25 years ago, nobody cared. And it was just sheer interest on how things work as an engineering field.
I'd be wrong if I say your interest was only in IT at that time. In fact, 25 years ago, you were already targeting your zeroing on your interest area as AI then 25 years ago.
Yes. In fact, the first, I had built this Nepali text-to-speech synthesizer, which is making machines talk in Nepali. And I released it as an open source software. I did a presentation at NAST, at the time RONAST, and I gave a presentation on how to build a Nepali speech synthesis, like making machines speak in Nepali. And that was 24 years ago.
How was the reaction after that? Did anybody come back and consult you and try to develop that into a new thing in Nepal?
It was good, like at the moment, but it didn't materialize into anything else out of it. So we released that open source. But Nepal was pretty far behind in computer science, IT, especially 20-something years ago. There was barely internet, right? And a lot of the talent we have, who has exposure, was not there yet. So nobody really knew what to do with it. Somebody came, presented Nepali speech synthesis system. Okay, it sounds great, but how to use it here, how to build on it, none of that happened. So that software just stayed there in the shelf.
Before starting your own company, you worked for some world-renowned companies. When exactly did you decide it's time now for me to start my business?
So after PhD, I worked at IBM Watson Research Center as a research staff member for a few years. And as I mentioned, it was that interest of building speech-to-speech translation system, and IBM had one of the best speech-to-speech translation system research group at the time. And as I did research and published papers, and did more research and published papers, it came to a point where I saw, well, I've been doing research by then I'd been doing research for almost 15 years. And we're doing research and publishing. Like, it's not really impacting lives in the scale that I wanted. So after about 5 years after working at IBM, I said, okay, can I take all the learnings in AI I've been doing since like early 2000 to this is like 2013, 2012. Can I take all of that and apply into a business and start a company, build an AI product and sell it, to build a business around it so that it can have impact? And that's sort of what I did.
In the next part of the conversation, we'll talk about the fuse machines itself. Well, Dr. Maske, if I don't ask you these questions, maybe I'll not be doing justice to my viewers as well. How rich are you at this moment?
It all depends on how one perceives wealth, right? At the end of it, what matters is the family and health. For me, that's the most important thing, the family and being there and making an impact and so forth. The total market cap when it for the deal was 200 million. Post money is 280 million. And the opening at that opening had $10. It has gone down and is opened at less. So as the share prices move back and forth, it could come down, it could go up, and so forth. But it's no longer just me, right? It's all of our employees. Many of our employees are shareholders. A lot of the investors are shareholders.
Is it possible for a Nepal-based company to be enlisted globally, like in NASDAQ or in other global share market or stock exchanges? Is it possible? It has to be US-based.
I think from legality perspective, at least Nepal laws do not allow a fully Nepali company to be listed in NASDAQ because of some of the old rules and laws around Nepali citizens' rights of owning foreign assets and foreign shares and so forth. If that changes, then definitely so. As of right now, it has to be, at least as of right now, if there are companies that are headquartered in the US and is based in the US but have significant presence and have origins in Nepal, they can definitely list in NASDAQ.
So you are the first company that was founded by a Nepali person of Nepali origin to be enlisted in NASDAQ. How big is it?
I would say, being the company that has, basically we have a lot of presence in here. We are Nepali roots, Nepali values, and so forth. And from that perspective, being one of the first company to have such level of roots and ties to Nepal and being listed in NASDAQ is extremely satisfying, obviously. And I hope it becomes an example for other companies to strive and be listed in NASDAQ or other New York, other stock exchanges. And I hope we are the first among many to do that.
What's your next business plan? Like you are spreading slowly into a global business. You are already in South America, in some of the countries in North America, Canada, US, also Nepal-based, you said. So what's your next plan to promote the business globally?
Especially as a public company, growth is one of the most significant metric that everybody looks at us from, right? So from that perspective, one of the biggest focus would be growth. Both organic growth with our own team doing more sales and so forth, and with inorganic growth as well, with potential acquisitions and M&A activities and so forth. As far as the scaling out from just the US and Nepal, we've already on multiple countries, and we will continue to expand based on the needs of the clients, based on where we see the most value being generated and where the growth from sales happens.
There must have been challenges in the journey. Right now, as you said, you started it in 2013, almost 12 years of hard work, promotion, dedication, vision, innovation, as you said, right? As I have seen, as I saw myself, most of the Nepalese or Nepali diaspora in the US, I found a lot of youngsters working in the field of IT. So what are the challenges for, let's say, Nepali youngsters in the US or even in Nepal to build a business in IT or AI at present? What are the major challenges that you would suggest they should resolve those first?
Particularly in Nepal?
Nepal, as well as the Nepali diaspora in the US who want to emulate your steps.
I would say Nepali diaspora has starting a company is not easy, obviously, but if you look at the challenges, the youth in Nepal, they are faced with more challenges on trying to start a business and scale it. I would say there are various reasons for it, and there are many kinds of challenges. And one of the biggest challenges I would say is on funding, because especially as a smaller company, as a smaller startup, funding, you do need funding to sustain the company as you try to figure out product market fit, service market fit, and you need to be able to sustain that while you might not be making a lot of revenue. Especially if you want to go for, solving very extremely hard problems, you might not have a revenue coming in soon. In those cases, places like the United States or other countries, there's more capital, there's more risk capital available, where the investors may take a chance saying, okay, let's see where this can lead to, where you are able to take the risk and really build a very strong suite of products without having a clear revenue model right in the day one. But obviously all businesses require revenue models, but you get longer time to do that. In Nepal, there is not a lot of financing mechanisms for an entrepreneur to stay afloat while they are taking this risk and building these extremely difficult products. So that's one of the biggest challenges I see.
For an innovation like AI, IT, initially to be an enterprise has to have an impact. In Nepal, where IT still is, I would not say a luxury right now, because we do have access almost across the country right now, though intermittent at times. So what challenge do you see in country like ours, where you would see more and more IT-based company, AI-based companies emerging?
So besides the capital, I think compute infrastructure there's not, for example, even we struggle to find enough GPUs. And for AI, you need a lot of GPUs and compute power to build these models, train these models, inference, and to do an inference and so forth. And if we want the tech infrastructure and the overall tech ecosystem in Nepal to really produce a lot of tech companies, IT companies that are building products for Nepal, in Nepal, for Nepalese, then the compute infrastructure needs to be figured out. And that has not been done so. So I think that's one of the challenges. There are other challenges, obviously, from intellectual property laws and so forth, right? Like in a lot of more developed countries, some of these laws are more fine-tuned, so nobody can just do whatever they want, and if they are infringing copyrights and so forth, some of those needs to be also tightened up, so that somebody who's taking that risk and building something has some capacity to say, this is what I built and this is my intellectual property.
Going back to Fuse Machines, Dr. Maske, what makes a great company? Fuse Machines, let's say, where would you rank in the scale of a great company from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest?
I do not know how to rank the company that I started. But what I can say is, for any company, one of the most crucial factor is the culture of the company, on how everybody comes together to do something very big. And in order to do that, one of the most important stuff is vision. Like, what is the overall vision of the company? So I think the vision brings about the clarity on where you want to go. And the culture is part of the main DNA of the company that makes a company exciting to work for, exciting to join, exciting to build things for. And those parameters makes a great company.
So if I say it's great visionary leadership, backed up by a very creative and ethical workforce, that makes a great company. Would I be wrong?
Yeah, I think that is a good way to sum it.
So Fuse Machine is right in that track. Would you say that?
So we have amazing set of leaders in the company who are unified in the vision of democratizing AI, and that thesis of what we believe in, of making sure especially talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not, and opportunities should be. And having that clarity on that vision and all the leadership seeing that and creating the culture needed for the company to fulfill that dream. I think that makes the fuse machines be able to execute things the way we want. That has allowed us to be at this stage.
How is the work culture, as you said? Like, how multinational is the team right now in fuse machines?
Oh, very much. So, there are many languages get spoken. We are across quite a few countries in Latin America as well. We have employees in India, consultants in India. We have largest presences in Nepal. Then we're in Canada. So there's a mix of different cultures and languages, which makes it very exciting
to work as and to lead it as well. Yes. Well, very inspiring story of Dr. Samir Maske. That's what we are hearing right now, right here at the studios of NTV World. And in the next part of this conversation, we talk about Dr. Samir Maske as an international Nepali citizen, the flag bearer of Nepal in the global market. Dr. Maske, you have emerged as a Nepali flag bearer in the global business arena, but the emergence of your, let's say, emergence remained a pleasant surprise to many in Nepal. It was very quiet journey. We only came to know about your fuse machines, Dr. Samir Maske, very few. But how did you keep it so quietly, or did you do it intentionally quietly?
We've been building the business for almost 12, 13 years. And when you are truly trying to fulfill your vision, it's never about it's never about marketing and brand and stories and whatnot. It's about the overall ethos of what you're trying to do, which is impact lives, bring job opportunities, provide high quality education. So we've been doing that for a while because that's the core mission of fuse machines. And as we have done it, people have heard about some of the fellowship programs we have done. So we started AI Fellowship, Fuse Machines AI Fellowship, almost 7-8 years ago. I took some of my courses and packaged it and then taught it here to a surprisingly amazing results, which allowed us and said, okay, we should take that and make it a full-blown AI Fellowship program. Mm-hmm. And now, especially among young youth who are trying to learn AI, they know the AI Fellowship program quite well. Whenever we open fellowship programs, we get thousands of applicants. So, it's among the community of AI and engineers, people do know about fuse machines, mm-hmm. but probably maybe not in a broader Nepal view.
Anyway, it has been a very successful journey, but can you define success now? It's a very, let's say, ambiguous question I might be asking, but for you, what is success? How can you define it, relating it to you personally?
So, success, the word success could mean different things for different people, right? Depending on the age, depending on where you're at the stage of life and so forth. For a young kid, passing that final exam and getting 100% is the success. For a global world leader, impacting millions of lives is probably a success. So it means different things for different people. If I had to think about that word itself, what comes to my mind is family, being there for them. My wife, my kids, my mother, my sister, brother, and so forth, and being there when they need me, and being able to share the experience as a whole together is a success.
Has it changed you a bit, the success that you've achieved in the last few years, especially after, let's say, the enlisting in the US stock exchange? Has it changed you personally? Has your life changed, or it's still the same?
No, nothing has changed. It is still the same. There's been a bit of exposure here, and there's been news articles and whatnot, but no, nothing has changed on a day-to-day life.
Well, Dr. Maske, being a Nepali citizen originally, Was it difficult or easier for you to work in the US, especially when you were trying to build up a business?
US is a melting pot of pretty much all citizens around the world, of all ethnicity, races, and so forth. I went as a very young kid, right, as right after high school, and it didn't make as much of a difference, especially when you are among the students who are all there to study. Nepal definitely has that charm for a lot of people, where they learn about Mount Everest, they learn about the culture here, and so forth. From a perspective of having deep roots and values that have been instilled to me by my mom and the family, has definitely helped, right? The transparency, truth, ethics, these are like hospitality. These are some of the values that you learn in Nepal when you grow up. And those have definitely helped me in a global world on being able to compete.
So your roots have definitely helped you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nepali roots have absolutely helped me.
We are just talking about the journey, the dedication, the hard work that Dr. Samir Maske and his team, the multinational team behind the success of the Fuse machine, put up in these 13 years for the investment in NASDAQ. Now, in the next part of our conversation, we talk about AI, which I am a novice in, and to much of our viewers might be more interesting because they are much into it. How would you define AI, the artificial intelligence, Dr. Maske, being a practitioner and in fact a person who has built up a business, a very successful one in it? How would you define AI? What exactly is AI?
You can think of it as a machine that takes input, does a reasoning on it, and produces an output that is useful for humans. If I were to define it in the simplest form, that's what it would be. That reasoning system that sits in the middle, taking input and producing outputs that's useful for humans.
Is it still an evolving technology, or it's at its peak? In the next 5 years, how would it evolve, if it's evolving?
It is still very evolving. And the pace of evolution, or the change in AI and the tech behind AI, is unlike I've ever seen before. Right? Like, I did research in question answering system. The natural language processing world has been my life, from PhD to at IBM to teaching, all of that. But over the last 5 years, suddenly everything has changed in AI. A lot of things have changed. So the speed at which AI is changing is extremely rapid, and it will continue to do so. Definitely there is a little bit of overhype, where people think, like when I talk to some enterprise C-suite, they think, they may have heard and read and whatnot, and they think everything under the sun can be solved with AI, which is not the case. But it can do a lot at the moment.
Where do you see the technology in the next 5 years?
So,
especially I'm asking you this question because there's a few people like me who do not have much information about AI. We fear as if it is going to replace human intelligence, or even job loss, or let's say loss of privacy. These are some of the issues that we basically fear. So is that a valid fear in us?
Some of it could be valid from a perspective of, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 years, are all the cars going to drive itself, right? And I was just in San Francisco recently, and
that's already a reality there.
It's already a reality. I ordered a Waymo, which is similar to Uber, but it's a driverless car. A car just came near me, the door opened, I sat inside, and it just took me a route, stopped and opened and got out. There was no driver. So now that tech is evolving very fast, and more cities are producing that. Now that could generate a genuine questions to all the people who are making their livelihood based on driving cars or driving, like providing this.
Or the Uber service, let's say, to be specific in the US.
Now, should they be worried a bit?
They are worried, because I had a very interesting conversation with some of the people in LA itself who are in this service. So they were pretty much worried, especially the diaspora, Nepali diaspora, or the people who are relying to that. So that could be a possibility?
That could definitely be a possibility. So there are jobs where it could potentially be fully automated. But having said that, I would say AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs. Right? Like already there is prompt engineering, which does not exist before. AI audit, like auditing AI models, those kind of jobs did not exist. So there are new jobs already being created. So I think that will happen as well.
How foolproof is it, Dr. Maske? Can we 100% rely on it?
Foolproof as in, will it always be accurate? And I mean, depends on the problem that it is working on.
Since you're talking about auditing, for example, so would it be 100% correct in that sense?
At least probably, if you try to build an AI audit system at this point, it probably will not. And in many cases, it might never be 100%, because we as humans also make error.
Or the people like you would like to leave some space for the humans there as well?
No, the thing is, the AI is just learning from humans. And when it's learning from humans, if the training data has a certain amount of ambiguity, then it will also not be able to separate out some of those ambiguities, in which case it will make those errors. So in many cases, you will see 95% accuracy or 96%. In some instances, it has gone to 99%. But if you look at enterprise AI being built right now, in many cases, it is actually 90% or less than 90%, right? So there's still a decent amount of progress that we need to do to make AI what I quote unquote foolproof, which is not the case for every instance right now.
Well, enlighten me on this particular question, Dr. Maske. People like me who are still a novice, or people like many of our viewers who are pretty much, let's say, a novice in AI, will they be a misfit in near future in the society?
Misfit as in?
In terms of everything, because we are taking assistance for AI, as you said earlier, could be a misinterpretation or misuse of the technology itself, for each and everything, from students doing their homework to designing mega projects. We have heard AI can be used and is being used. So if you do not know how to get acquainted with it, or if you're not acquainted with it, will that person be a misfit soon in the society?
Yeah, I would say as the AI evolves and it produces these tools that we can use for efficiency gains and so forth, the more and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind, right? Because somebody else who has a similar job or role and academic credentials, if knows how to be 50% or 100% more efficient because he or she knows how to use the tools, then obviously that person has an advantage.
Let's move on to one of the slogans of your company, Dr. Maske. Democratizing AI is one of the slogans of your company, Fuse Machines. Can you tell us more about it? Why AI needs democratization? And what does that slogan exactly mean?
For us, it means providing AI education, high quality AI education in all the underserved countries and communities around the world and in the United States. And providing that access to AI such that everybody is able to learn AI and build AI for their own communities. That's what democratized AI means for us.
So your company is championing that. How much of that contribution your company has started making in, let's say, making it more accessible in every nooks and corners of this world, let's say?
So we've been doing AI fellowship as part of the democratizing AI effort in Nepal, We've done in a few countries in Africa, we've done in Latin America, we've done in the United States. So we've been providing this free education as part of that mission and journey. In Nepal, we've been doing fellowship programs for quite a while, and we launched a program called AI Shiksha for Nepal as part of this democratizing AI effort. And we will continue to do so. And the hope is AI Shiksha for Nepal program will through that program, we'll be able to provide AI education to many, many, many students here in Nepal.
What is the contribution of a country like Nepal in the global AI ecosystem?
It can make a lot of contribution.
That's a meaningful statement. It can make.
Yes, it can make a big contribution, a very meaningful contribution to the in the global stage of AI. And I would say that partly because of the talent here. There is a lot of talent who can be trained in AI and who can produce both services and product for the world. Services, obviously, outsourcing services and other kind of services can be done here from Nepal. But beyond that, I think the talent is so good that if we just train them a bit more and make them competitive enough for a global stage, then they will be able to build products right here in Nepal for the world. In which case you will have products built in Nepal, sold out all outside of Nepal and in Nepal. And I think that would be a global contribution. But beyond that, even for Nepal, I think there are a lot of AI products that could be built in Nepal for Nepal by Nepali engineers. And I think that will be amazing to see in the coming months, years, and the decade.
My question is, the ethical use of AI, how would you promote it and advocate it, given that your slogan, democratizing AI, is also trying to spread it across? So does that promote the ethical use of AI or the random use of AI?
So when we do provide AI education, we talk, one of the chapters and sections is about ethics, AI ethics and AI policies and so forth. And this is a very important question because AI is impacting a lot of lives, and it's starting to automate a lot of things. And as you said, some people might lose jobs, some people might not be happy about this. But in total, net, I think there's a lot of good that is coming. But even then, ethics and how AI and the data privacy sort of interacts with it, and do we have right policies on data privacies? Do we have right laws mandated on face recognition? So those are some of the very important questions that we need to address. And I think many countries are starting to catch up to the tech, right? Because the tech's so speeding ahead that government, federally, locally, are still doing a catch-up game on policies, right? And to give you an example, there was a law passed a while ago that, not in Nepal, outside of Nepal, that if you are using an AI system to filter resumes for more than 50%, that model needs to be audited. But what does model auditing, AI model auditing even means, and who's going to do it? None of that was clear, right? So that created a situation where people were confused. So I think, especially things related to AI and the ethics of AI, there needs to be more study. There needs to be more policymakers who has also studied AI, spend time on it, and figure out how all of this intersection needs to be untangled to make sure AI is impacting lives for better and not necessarily for worse.
We see a lot of misuse of AI, let's say defaming someone, infringing into privacy of someone. So could there be a system within the AI itself that could stop things like that?
If not fully stop, at least identifying misinformation, fake videos, fake pictures, those are some of the new AI systems being built. We are all, because we have had some issues where, for example, the candidates, especially when we are hiring remote engineers, the person who interviewed versus person who applied and who started working were all different. And we didn't catch fast enough until they got onboarded. And then we realized, oh, the person who's attending the meeting doesn't look anywhere like the person who interviewed, right? And we are playing that catch-up. And that playing that catch-up requires actually additional kind of AI systems, which will also help us to catch fake videos and fake interviewers, like job interviewers who are interviewing with generated faces in the interviews, and so forth. So to catch the systems, we need, it's the AI system generating the problems, but at the same time, we need AI systems to help us catch those problems as well.
And that needs greater investment, as you said, greater enforcement. For example, kids as young as, let's say, 10, 12, were exposed to AI tools, are not aware about the ethical use of AI, because the system that they are exposed with would be the cheaper one, readily available one, free to use one, which are more onto attracting users and generating money out of that. So can there be a system within the AI to control things as such?
Yeah, definitely. I think there is verification systems coming in place, and I think even the large language model systems like ChatGPT and others are coming up with a framework on how to give a safe access to kids of certain age, below 13, below 9, below 18, and so forth. So those could be built in.
Very interesting conversation. We're talking to Dr. Samir Maske, founder and CEO of Fuse Machines, adjunct associate professor at University of Columbia, teaches artificial intelligence, which could replace you and I tomorrow unless we get to learn about it, unless we learn more and more about it. We are trying to conclude this conversation now. Dr. Samir Maske, what message do you have to the aspiring Nepali entrepreneurs who want to build businesses around AI, IT, and go globally as you?
What I would say is, for aspiring entrepreneurs here, you have the talent, you have skills that are equally competitive to any other aspiring entrepreneurs around the world. And if you aspire to build an AI company, you should absolutely go for it and build it and start a dream here, but I'm pretty sure many will be able to take it to the global stage. So you should just absolutely go for it.
Final thought on the political changes that the country has seen, if any you want to make?
There's been a lot of changes over time, and some of the frustrations have boiled up to a level where it brought about this change, and this puts us at a beginning stages of being able to bring a new kind of processes, new kind of developments, and a new energy in the youth that hopefully will energize the whole government, and hopefully with the new election coming in, we'll have a new government set up that will work for all Nepali citizens for the greater good of Nepal.
Dr. Samir Maske. Dr. Maske, it was a great pleasure for NTV World Studios to have you on Declassified. Wish you more luck, and maybe you would be able to make your company more global next time we meet again. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we had a very inspiring conversation with Dr. Samir Maske, the founder and CEO of Fuse Machines. Hope this conversation inspires all the budding entrepreneurs who would like to follow his footsteps, if not being better than what he has achieved so far. Well, do keep us following on our social media platforms, our Facebook page, our X page, our TikTok handle, and also on our website, www.ntvworldnepal.com. Until next time, from this episode of Declassified, bye-bye. Pokhara is undoubtedly #1 destination for tourists in Nepal. The valley, blessed with natural beauty, attracts domestic and foreign tourists alike. You must have already visited Pokhara. If you haven't or planning another trip, then these are some of the must-go places in Pokhara. The first attraction in Pokhara is the Feva Lake. Boating in Feva Lake is a ritual for every tourist visiting this paradise. The Tal Barahi temple at the center of the lake adds to the beauty of the place. A round-trip boat ride in Feva Lake to and from the temple is a feature of both the lake as well as the temple. Separate boat ride, watching the reflection of Mount Machapuchre on the lake and fishing spice up the Feva experience. The lakeside along the banks of the Feva Lake is a popular tourist hub. Many tourists in Pokhara choose Devi's Fall as their second destination in Pokhara. The water from Feva Lake exits towards Seti River through the Gupteshwar cave from this Devi's Fall. The mighty water stream rushing deep down into the gorge, covered by water vapor, is a magical sight. Pokhara is known as the city of lakes and caves. Many of the lakes and caves have religious importance. This is Gupteshwar cave at Chorepatan area. Inside the cave, the idol of Lord Shiva is a well-known pilgrimage. Further inside the cave, one can see the Devi's Fall. Mahendra Cave is another famous place in Pokhara, and nearby is another well-known Chamere cave. Both the caves can be visited together. Two other well-known tourist destinations in Pokhara are Begnas and Rupa lakes. Fresh fish or Begnas lake is a sought-after delicacy. Rupa lake is just round the corner beyond a small hill towards the eastern edge of Begnas lake. Away from the hustle and bustle of the town, Begnas and Rupa lakes cannot be taken out of a tourist's itinerary. This is the famous White Monastery on top of the hill above Feva Lake. This is also a popular destination for domestic as well as foreign tourists. The top-angle bird's-eye view of Pokhara city from the monastery is a sight to behold. The placid Feva Lake, the tall mountain range, and the birds like paragliding pilots on the background of Sarankot Hill are mesmerizing. The Bindabasini temple in Pokhara is a famous shrine in Nepal. The best route to visit the temple is on the way to Sarankot. Devotees throng the Bindabasini temple, which is atop a small hill with panoramic view of Pokhara city. The Bindabasini temple is famous among the Hindus across the country. Sarangkot is a hill station on top of a hill on the northwestern side of Pokhara. A must-go place to see the majestic Mount Machapuchre and Mount Dhaulagiri in the Annapurna range in front of the eyes, and also the Pokhara and Leknath cities on the other side. Sarangkot is synonymous to paragliding in Nepal. Taking off from the Sarangkot hill, one can enjoy the panoramic mountain range in addition to the bird's eye view of Pokhara city. Ultralight and zip flyer offer a thrill to adventure seekers in Pokhara and are becoming major interests for tourists. Other places, including Swarak in Sangja, have the potential to be world's best place for paragliding. First time in Nepal, Paragliding Accuracy World Cup was held at this place, situated at Mahapur of Virkot municipality of the district. The place drew global attention after the event. Pokhara, famous tourism destination of the country. Majority of locals engaged in tourism industry. The city of lakes and caves, hub of aviation sports. Some major destinations: Lakeside, Feva Lake and Tal Barahi Temple, Begnas and Rupa Lakes, Mahendra Gufa.
The first space is your home. The second space is your work or school.
Oh, very good.
And the third space? It is a place for your social life to actually unfold.
क्यापिटल सिटीहरु चाहिँ मान्छेहरु चाहिँ आफ्नो लाइफमा आफ्नो डे टु डे लाइफमा यति धेरै बिजी भइसकेका हुन्छ कि उनीहरु एकदमै आइसोलेटेड भइसकेका हुन्छन् के सो यसबाट चाहिँ लाइक टु गेट ओभर इट अनि एक्सप्लोर गरेर आफूलाई फ्रेश गराउनको लागि हैन त्यसको लागि चाहिँ इट्स रियली एसेन्शियल.
In many parts of the Western world, third spaces look like cafes, libraries, pubs, and so on. We have those too in Nepal. But historically, we have always done it a little differently.
म चाहिँ यो नजिकै बस्ने भएको भएर म यो ठाउँमा अक्सर आइरहन्छु हैन. मलाई यो पब्लिक प्लेसहरु सार्वजनिक ठाउँहरु एकदमै मन पर्छ मलाई चाहिँ. अनि अब काठमाडौँ आफै पनि साँगुरो छ हैन. हामीसँग थोरै मात्रै पब्लिक स्पेसहरु छ. त्यसमध्ये बसन्तपुरको यो सार्वजनिक स्थल चाहिँ एकदमै मलाई लाग्छ काठमाडौँ भित्रको क्राउडमा पनि अलिकति रमाइलो गर्नलाई, आफ्नो फ्यामिलीसँग टाइम स्पेन्ड गर्नलाई अनि अलिकति फ्रेश भएर बसौँ, अलिकति हावा खाएर बसौँ भन्ने हो भने यो ठाउँ चाहिँ हाम्रो वर्ल्ड हेरिटेजमा भएको साइटहरु हेर्दै हामी मजाले रमाउन सक्छौँ, गफ गर्न सक्छौँ.
The term third space comes from sociologist Ray Oldenburg's 1989 book, The Great Good Place. He described it as public space outside of your home or work where you can exist socially and build connections. But in Nepal, the idea of a third space has existed for centuries.
नेपालको सन्दर्भमा हेर्यो भने पनि हामी 16औं शताब्दीमा मल्ल राजाहरूले चाहिँ यसलाई क्रिएट गरेको पाउँछौं. तर त्यो भन्दा अगाडि पनि लिच्छवीकालीन हेर्यो भने पनि यो स्पेसहरु चाहिँ क्रिएसन गरेको देखिन्छ. किनभने काठमाडौँ दरबार स्क्वायरमा हेर्यो भने एउटा चाहिँ के छ भने स्पिरिचुअली पनि लिएको छ. त्यहाँ शिव पार्वती मन्दिरहरु छ भने हनुमान ढोका छ, त्यस्तै गरेर नसाल चोक छ दरबारको लागि, त्यस्तै गरिकन कुमारीको पनि त्यही छ. अनि यो जम्मैले हामी के देख्छौं भने यो थर्ड स्पेस चाहिँ हामी अहिले मात्रै हैन कि परम्परागत देखि नै पाइन्छ. बिहान पख चाहिँ किसानहरूले ताजा तरकारी ल्याउने पनि भेट्छौं. अनि अहिले पनि कुरा छ फ्रेस सब्जीहरू खान्छ भने बिहान यो थर्ड स्पेसमा जाने भन्छ। अहिले पनि हामी हेऱ्यो भने यो दरबार स्क्वायरको वरिपरि तरकारी के अरे बेच्न बिहान किसानहरूले ल्याएको हामी पाउँछौँ। यो चाहिँ त्यही भएर यो परम्परा देखिन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ के छ भने यो इन्टरेक्सन गर्ने ओल्ड एज अथवा रिटायर मान्छे यस्ता मान्छेहरूले पनि त्यो थर्ड स्पेस युज गरेको पाउँछौँ।
From temple courtyards to neighborhood chokes to palace squares, our third spaces are woven into the fabric of our history and culture itself. They live on the temple steps. They are sheltered under the shade of the traditional falcha and poured into teacups at hole-in-the-wall tea stalls.
कोही कोही साथीहरु मिलेर आउँछ, कोही कोही अब विदेशीहरु पनि आएर चिया खान आउँछ यहाँ। अनि अब कोही अब यसो अब कामसाम सकाएर आरामले चिया खाने हिसाबले आउनेहरु पनि मान्छेहरु आउँछ है। अब बेलुकासम्म काम पसल बन्द गरेर चिया खान आउनेहरु पनि आउँछ तपाईको यहाँ।
Beyond these grand palace courtyards, the surrounding traditional neighborhood also have their own junctions, built as a part of the people's local daily lives.
दरबार भनेको चाहिँ यो कन्ट्री वाइड भयो त्यतिखेर र नेबरहुड वाइड भन्छ कि नेबरहुडमा पनि हामी चोक भेटाउँछौँ। त्यो अनि त्यसलाई पनि के गरेको छ त भन्दाखेरि हायरार्की गरेछ, तहगत छुट्याइएको छ हैन। व्यक्तिगतलाई स्पेस पनि दिएको छ। जस्तो हामीले चाहिँ चारवटा दाजुभाइहरूको घर बनाएको छ नि, एउटा कोर्टयार्ड बनाइदिने, अनि त्यहाँ एउटा मन्दिर बनाउने गणेशको अथवा बुद्धको के छ त्यो एउटा ल्यान्डमार्क बनाउने र आफ्नो बिहानको घाम ताप्ने ठाउँमा त्यो होइन कि अब बसेर कुरा गर्ने अनि कार्यक्रमहरू गर्ने कुनै कार्यक्रम त्यस्तो। अनि अलिक त्योभन्दा वाइडर गऱ्यो भने अलिकता ठुलो कम्युनिटीमा जाने, एउटा प्राइभेटबाट चाहिँ कम्युनिटीमा आयो। अनि यो चाहिँ बस्नपुर जस्तो चाहिँ अब कन्ट्री वाइज एउटा नेसनल लेभलको चाहिँ स्पेस हो, त्यो अलिक ठुलो छ।
The third space does not have to be something high-tech or carefully curated. It just needs to be accessible enough for people to visit, relax, and connect. Third spaces are where people come together, talk, and feel like a part of something bigger, communal. In the hustle and bustle of a city like Kathmandu, they offer what many of us crave: a connection, a pause, a sense of belonging.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Tehran is continuing talks with Oman over shipping routes through the Strait of Hormuz, but warned that reopening the strategic waterway will depend on the United States upholding a memorandum of understanding signed back in June. Araghchi said Iran is seeking assurances that the agreement will be respected before allowing shipping through the Strait of Hormuz to return to normal. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical global trade route, particularly for oil and gas shipments from the Gulf. The negotiations come amid continued uncertainty over access to the waterway, with any prolonged disruption potentially affecting international energy supplies and shipping costs. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump said he will soon declare the Strait of Hormuz waterway part of U.S. territory, claiming that Iran was being heavily defeated.
After we finish defeating Iran, which is being very badly defeated, pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States. Essentially, that's what it is. We have the blockade. No ships get through unless we want them to.
Meanwhile, the USS George Washington has arrived in the Arabian Sea and is expected to relieve the USS Abraham Lincoln amid growing concerns over conditions aboard the US aircraft carrier. The deployment comes as tensions in the Middle East remain high, with the U.S. maintaining a significant naval presence in the region. The George Washington's arrival is expected to provide a transition in carrier operations, while the Lincoln faces reported concerns over conditions affecting personnel on board. The move underscores Washington's continued focus on maintaining naval readiness and operational capability in the region. A powerful earthquake that struck eastern Indonesia has killed at least 51 people as of Sunday and forced about 5,000 people to evacuate as rescue teams work to clear roads blocked by landslides and reach survivors still trapped under the rubble. The magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck at 5:58 a.m. local time on Saturday, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, which put the depth at 10 kilometers. More than 3,300 people in Sikka Regency, one of the hard-hit areas, either fled their homes or left stranded, taking shelter in a sports arena, according to Indonesia's disaster mitigation agency BNPB. It said 3 helicopters and a rescue vessel have been deployed to support the emergency response in the region, where the scattered geography of small islands makes access difficult. A tsunami warning issued immediately after the earthquake has since been lifted. The same stretch of coastline was struck by a similarly powerful earthquake in December 1992, when the quake and the tsunami it triggered killed more than 2,500 people on Flores, Indonesia's geophysics agency said. Indonesia, a nation of some 290 million people spread across roughly 17,000 islands, sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, making it one of the most vulnerable countries across the world. A Sri Lanka Navy Devora fast attack craft capsized off the coast of Angulana while returning from a routine patrol, prompting a joint search and rescue operation. 11 sailors aboard the vessel were rescued after the boat overturned, while one crew member remains missing. According to the sailors, the vessel was involved in an accident and capsized rapidly. Nearby fishing boats and police officers helped to rescue the 11 personnel from the waters. The rescued sailors were taken to the Navy hospital for medical treatment. Officials said their conditions are not serious. The Sri Lankan Navy, Police and Air Force have deployed personnel and resources to search the surrounding waters for the missing sailor. Authorities have not yet released details about what caused the vessel to capsize, and the search operation remains ongoing. Hundreds of Afghans gathered near the former U.S. Embassy in Kabul to mark 5 years of Taliban rule, dancing to patriotic music, waving flags, and taking selfies. The gathering comes 5 years after the Taliban seized control of Afghanistan in August 2021, following the withdrawal of U.S. and other foreign forces and the collapse of the previous Afghan government. The anniversary is being marked by Taliban supporters as a display of national pride, while the group continues to face international criticism over its policies and governance. Since returning to power, Taliban authorities have imposed strict restrictions on women and girls, including severe limits on access to secondary and higher education and employment. The restrictions have drawn condemnation from the United Nations and human rights organizations, which have repeatedly called on the Taliban to reverse policies that exclude women and girls from public life. Despite the criticism, some people attending the anniversary celebration said they support the Taliban and believe the group has brought greater security and stability after decades of war. The former U.S. Embassy, once a major symbol of Washington's presence in Afghanistan, provided a striking backdrop to the celebrations as the Taliban marked a milestone that remains deeply contested both inside and outside the country. 5 years since the takeover, Afghanistan continues to face major economic and humanitarian challenges, while the Taliban government remains diplomatically isolated and unrecognized by most of the countries. A 70-year-old man in western Turkey has turned discarded walnut shells into miniature works of art, transforming an everyday waste product into detailed handmade figures. Suleiman Yücel began making the creations as a retirement hobby 14 years ago and now produces more than 120 different designs, including people, animals, vehicles, and musical instruments. Yücel also accepts custom orders, creating miniature figures representing professions such as doctors, lawyers, and painters. He displays his creations at a local stall where the intricate pieces attract visitors impressed by the patience and creativity involved. For Yücel, the craft has become more than a pastime, giving discarded walnut shells a new purpose while allowing him to turn his imagination into art. His work shows how simple discarded materials can be transformed into meaningful art through creativity, patience, and skilled craftsmanship. A newly identified frog species in Costa Rica has been found thriving in an unlikely habitat, coffee plantations, while at the same time facing growing risk from the chemicals used to protect the coffee crops. The small amphibian measuring less than 4 centimeters in length was discovered in Costa Rica's Central Pacific region, an area known for its rich biodiversity and extensive coffee cultivation. Researchers say the frog has adapted well to the vegetation surrounding coffee plantations, where it can be found among leaves and dense undergrowth. Its distinctive appearance makes it relatively easy to identify, with large, irregular dark spots covering its back and striking golden-orange markings on its limbs. But scientists warn that the species' dependence on agricultural landscapes could also expose it to serious environmental threats. Agrochemicals, including pesticides and other crop protection products, are widely used in coffee production and can contaminate soil and water sources that amphibians depend on. Because frogs have highly sensitive skin and are particularly sensitive to the changes in their environment, researchers say exposure to agricultural chemicals could pose a significant health threat to the newly identified species. Cheers erupted in Pakistan's Karachi as Abdul Majid celebrated victory in a high-speed donkey cart race, kissing his animal after crossing the finish line first. The race, held up to 3 times a year, brings dozens of donkeys onto a 2-kilometer circuit on roads close to traffic. The race, held up to 3 times a year, brings dozens of donkeys onto a 2-kilometer circuit on roads close to the traffic. For owners like Mazid, the event is closely tied to their livelihood and a long-standing relationship with the animals they depend on for work. But the competition has also drawn criticism from animal rights groups who warn that the donkeys could face exhaustion or injury during the competition. Mazid rejects concerns that the animals are neglected, saying owners spend much of their time caring for them. The races offer a lively spectacle in the port city, while also highlighting the different balance between traditional livelihoods, entertainment, and animal welfare. It also continues to attract crowds, keeping a distinctive local tradition alive despite growing debate over animal welfare. Dozens of residents and tourists have gathered with the guard. Officials continue to monitor the volcano and conditions around the mountain as activity persists. Vietnam's island destination of Phu Quoc has been named among Expedia's Island Hot List 2026, placing it among the global top 10 and making it one of the only 2 Asian destinations on the list. The island was recognized as best for affordable luxury, highlighting its growing appeal among travelers seeking upscale resorts, dining, and experiences at relatively accessible prices. Expedia says social media mentions of Phu Quoc jumped 235% year-on-year, reflecting rising international interest in the destination. Beyond its beaches, the island is expanding its tourism, offering with luxury resorts, entertainment venues, and major attractions aimed at a broader international market. Significant infrastructure investment ahead of APEC 2027 is also reshaping the island, strengthening its ambitions to become a leading high-end tourism hub in Southeast Asia. The surge in attention signals Phuok's growing transformation from a beach gateway into a more developed destination for international travelers.
विश्वको सबैभन्दा लामो पदयात्राको रूपमा रहेको मिथिला माध्यमिक परिक्रमा निकै नै पौराणिक तथा धार्मिक परिक्रमा हो। यो परिक्रमाको 15 दिने यात्रामा यात्रुले नेपालको 115 किलोमिटर र भारतको 28 किलोमिटर गरी जम्मा 143 किलोमिटर यात्रा गर्ने गर्दछन्। यसमा नेपालको 11 तथा भारतको 4 गरी जम्मा 15 पडाव पर्दछ। पडावमा पुगेपछि बास पनि बसिन्छ। नेपालका 11 पडाव मध्ये महोत्तरीमा 5 र धनुषामा 6 वटा पडाव पर्दछ भने भारतको मधुबनी जिल्लामा 4 वटा पडाव पर्दछ। यो परिक्रमालाई मिथिलामा महाकुम्भ पनि भनिने गरिन्छ। फाल्गुन औँसीका दिन धनुषाको ठेरा कचुरी स्थित मिथिला बिहारी मठबाट अवध बिहारी श्रीरामको प्रतिमा राखिएको डोला बोकिएपछि यात्रा प्रारम्भ गरिन्छ। भगवान श्रीरामको डोला जनकपुर पुगेपछि अग्निकुण्ड स्थानबाट निस्कने श्री किशोरीजीको डोला मिसिएपछि यात्रा औपचारिक रूपमा प्रारम्भ हुने परम्परा छ।
यो हामीहरूको लाग्छन् कि करिब करिब यसको इतिहास चाहिँ 100 वर्षभन्दा पनि माथि होला, 100-200 वर्षभन्दा पनि माथि होला। जुन मिथिला बिहारीबाट सुरु भएछ कचरी भन्ने ठाउँको एउटा महात्मा हुनुहुन्थ्यो। उहाँले चाहिँ यो परिक्रमा माध्यमिक परिक्रमा चाहिँ सुरु गरियो।
भगवान राम र जगत जननी सीताको प्रतिमा राखिएको डोलासँगै गरिने यो यात्रा मोक्षदायक, कल्याणदायक र आरोग्यदायक हुने हिन्दू मैथिल जनविश्वास छ। त्रेता युगमा श्रीराम र माता सीताले विवाह पश्चात मिथिलाका विभिन्न स्थानको भ्रमण गरेको सम्झनामा यो यात्रा गर्ने गरिएको मान्यता छ। यो यात्रा मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम श्रीराम र मिथिला नन्दिनी श्री जानकीको पद चिन्ह पछ्याउने यात्राको रूपमा गरिने यात्रा हो। यसमा नेपाल र भारतका गरी लाखौं श्रद्धालुले यात्रा गर्ने गर्दछन्। यो यात्राको उद्देश्य अभिष्ट आरोग्यता, कल्याण र मोक्षको कामना हो।
यो रामायण कालदेखि नै चल्दै आएको यो हाम्रो मिथिलाको माध्यमिकी परिक्रमाले धेरै निकै प्रभाव हाम्रो धार्मिक र सांस्कृतिक स्तरमा धेरै प्रभाव पार्छ। यस माध्यमिकी परिक्रमामा नेपालभरिको वा मिथिलाभरिको मात्रै नभई नेपाल, भारत लगायत तेस्रो मुलुक समेतको यात्रीहरू यसमा सहभागी हुन्छन् र लाखौँभन्दा लाखौँको सङ्ख्यामा उपस्थित हुन्छन्। यसमा हिन्दू धर्मावलम्बीहरूको लागि यो त्रेता युगदेखि नै चल्दै आएको यो माध्यमिकी परिक्रमा हो र यसमा साधु सन्त, गृहस्थ, परिवार, धार्मिक श्रद्धालुहरू सबै यसमा सहभागी हुन्छन्।
मिथिला महात्म्यमा वर्णन गरिएको मध्य परिक्रमाको सुरुवात 18औं शताब्दी भन्दा केही अगाडि भएको मान्यता छ। यो परिक्रमा फाल्गुन औँसीदेखि पूर्णिमासम्मको मध्यमा गरिने भएकोले यसलाई माध्यमिक परिक्रमा भनिएको हो। अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरिएपछि यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमा पूरा भएको मानिन्छ। अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमालाई पञ्चकोशी परिक्रमा पनि भनिन्छ। माध्यमिक परिक्रमा गर्न नपाएका वा नभ्याएकाले यो पञ्चकोशी परिक्रमाबाटै मोक्षको कामना गर्दछन्।
15 दिने परिक्रमाको महात्म जनकपुर धामको परिक्रमा त्यो बेलाको कलानेश्वरबाट सुरु हुन्छन्, जुन राजा जनकको समयमा प्रथम द्वार थियो र 4वटा द्वारमा 4वटा उहाँले शिवलिङ्ग स्थापना गरेका थियो शिवजीको, जुन कलानेश्वर छ, जलेश्वर छ, बाटोमा आउँछ धनुषाधाम जाने बाटोमा छिलेश्वर आउँछन् अनि कपिलेश्वर आउँछन्। यो सबै चाहिँ हाम्रो मिथिला महात्मा अनुसार यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमा अन्तर्गत पर्छ। त जहाँ जानकीजीसँग जोडिएको त्यो बेलाको उहाँको स्थलहरू छन् जहाँ अनेक लीला गर्नुभएको छ। त्यो स्थलहरू घुम्दै यहाँ 15 दिनमा यहाँ प्रवेश हुन्छ र यहाँ अन्तर्गृह गरेर अनि परिक्रमाको पूर्णाहुति समाप्त हुन्छ।
15 दिने परिक्रमाको जे फल प्राप्त हुन्छ लगभग त्यो चाहिँ जानकीजीको भूमि भएको हुनाले, जनकजीको भूमि भएको हुनाले त्यो अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा मात्रै त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसको फल चाहिँ प्राप्त हुन्छ। यहाँलाई एउटा कुरा जानकारी दिउँ, त्यो के हो भनेदेखि यो चाहिँ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमामा को विकासमा सबभन्दा ठुलो योगदान मौनी बाबाको हो। यहाँ मौनी बाबा एकजना हुनुहुन्थ्यो, त्यो मौनी बाबाले त्यो चाहिँ रिङ रोड अहिलेको भाषामा भनौँ र त्यो चाहिँ परिक्रमा क्षेत्र जुन छ त्यो सडकको दुवैतिर त्यो रुखहरू लगाउनु भएको त्यो चाहिँ मौनी बाबाले हो। र एउटा अचम्मको कुरो छ र रोचक कुरो पनि के छ भनेदेखि यसको नाउँ हेर्नुहोस्, अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा भनेको अन्तर्नगर परिक्रमा होइन, यो अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा हो। त त्यो चाहिँ त्यसको आशय के छ भनेदेखि कि प्रत्येक मिथिलावासी बहुत पवित्र छन् र यहाँ जन्म लिनु नै बहुत सार्थक र अत्यन्त पुण्यको कुरो हो। त्यसले आफ्नै घरको पनि परिक्रमा हुन्छ। त्यो हामी जति छौँ यहाँ बस्नेहरू त्यो अन्तर्गृहको परिक्रमा पनि गर्छौँ। त त्यो चाहिँ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा त्यो धार्मिक दृष्टिले यसको महत्त्व त्यो मिथिला महात्म्यका ग्रन्थहरू जति छन् यी सबै ग्रन्थहरूमा हामीले पाउने गर्दछौँ।
कौचरीको मिथिला बिहारी जनकपुरको सुन्दर सदन मन्दिरबाट ईश्वरीजी र राम जानकी सहित जनकपुरको अन्य डोला हनुमान गढीबाट सुरु गरिने माध्यमिक परिक्रमा भारतको कल्याणेश्वर गिरिजा स्थान हुँदै चौथो दिन महोत्तरीको प्रसिद्ध पौराणिक लक्ष्मी नारायणको मठ रहेको मटिहानी आइपुग्दछ, जहाँबाट पुनः नेपालका विभिन्न स्थानहरूको परिक्रमा सुरु हुने गर्दछ। मटिहानी महोत्तरी जिल्लामा पर्ने 5 पडावहरू मध्येको पहिलो पडाव पनि हो। भगवान राम र माता सीताको विवाहमा यज्ञवेदी निर्माण गर्दा यही मटिहानीबाट माटो खनी लगिएको धार्मिक विश्वास रहेको छ।
जनकपुरको हनुमानगढीबाट विधिवत प्रारम्भ हुन्छ। यसको सबै ठाउँमा परिक्रमावासीहरू बस्ने अथवा डोला बस्नेको सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो धार्मिक महत्त्व छ र यो मटिहानीको पनि एउटा विशेषता के हो भने यहाँ राजगुटी पहिला लक्ष्मीनारायण मठ र एउटा रामायणकालीन इतिहाससित जोडिएको कारणले गर्दा मटिहानीमा राम र जानकीको बिहा हुँदाखेरि बिहाको यज्ञवेदी निर्माण गर्नलाई यहाँबाट माटो खनेर लगेको एउटा धार्मिक विश्वास भएको कारणले गर्दा परिक्रमा पनि यहाँ आइपुग्छ एउटा रामायणकालीन इतिहास र धार्मिक महत्त्व भएको कारणले गर्दा विशेष गरी यहाँ आइपुग्छ र यस पछाडि जलेश्वरनाथ आराध्य देव जलेश्वरनाथको नगरी पुगिन्छ। सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो धार्मिक विशेषता छ। मट्यानीको पनि रामायणकालीन धार्मिक महत्त्व भएको कारणले गर्दा डोला यहाँसम्म आइपुग्ने गरेको छ।
पाँचौं दिन बिहानै मठियानीबाट यात्रुहरू आराध्य देव जलेश्वरनाथको नगरी जलेश्वरको लागि प्रस्थान गर्दछन्। जलेश्वरबाट मडै ध्रुवकुण्ड हुँदै 8औं दिन परिक्रमा कञ्चनवन पुग्दछ। कञ्चनवन महोत्तरी जिल्लाको अन्तिम पडाव पनि हो। पौराणिक कालमा भगवान राम र माता सीताले यस ठाउँमा नित्य होली खेल्ने गरेको धार्मिक मान्यता पनि छ।
तुलसीदासले भन्नुभएको छ कि रामायण शतकोटि अपार अपार किसिम धेरै किसिमका रामायणहरू छन् र राम कथाहरू पनि अनेक छन्। मिथिलाको जुन कथा छ त्यो चाहिँ लोक आस्था मात्रै किंवदन्ती मात्रै हो। त्यो चाहिँ कुनै अन रेकर्ड त्यसलाई खोज्नुहुन्छ भने पाउनुहुन्न। त्यो हाम्रो विश्वास के छ भने कि सीता र राम जब घुम्दै थिए डोलामा सबैसित भेट्दै थिए यो बेलामा होलीको बेलामा अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ सबभन्दा पहिले कञ्चनवन राम खेले होरी कञ्चनवन त्यो चाहिँ आरम्भ त्यो चाहिँ त्यहीँदेखि हो।
यहाँ मिथिला महात्मा पनि छन् र हाम्रो रामायणहरूमा पनि छ। 4वटा वन थियो, 10वटा उपवन थियो। त 4वटा वन मध्येको कञ्चन वन जुन थियो त्यसमा भगवानको होली महोत्सव भएछ। जानकीजीसँग राम जब बेहुला भएर यहाँ एउटा वैवाहिक सम्बन्धमा गाँच्नुभयो अनि एउटा यहाँ 6 महिना बस्नु भएछ जनकपुरमा। त्यो बेला र जनकपुरमा 6 महिना बस्दा ससुरालीको एउटा आनन्दले होली महोत्सवको बेलामा चाहिँ कञ्चन वनमा गएर यहाँको जति पनि उहाँको सखी यहाँको जति पनि जनकपुरवासी थियो त्रेतायुगमा उहाँ सम्पूर्णसँग त्यहाँ चाहिँ सीताजीसँग होली खेलेको एउटा घटना छन् जुन अहिले पनि परिक्रमामा त्यो हामीहरू त्यहाँको त्यो आनन्द त्यही गर्छौँ।
सोही सम्झनामा उक्त ठाउँमा परिक्रमा आइसकेपछि होली खेल्ने परम्परा छ। त्यस ठाउँमा पुगेका तीर्थयात्रु तथा भक्तजनले एकअर्कालाई रंग अबिर लगाएर होली खेल्ने गर्दछन्। सो होलीको आयोजना बृहत्तर जनकपुर क्षेत्र विकास परिषद, भङ्गाहा नगरपालिका, जनकपुरका सुन्दर सदन लगायतका संघ संस्थाले संयुक्त रूपमा गर्ने गर्दछन्। कञ्चनवनबाट 9औं दिन बिहानै हिँडेका तीर्थयात्रीहरू धनुषाको पर्वता अर्थात् श्रीरेश्वरनाथ महादेव स्थान हुँदै धनुषा धाम, सतोखर, औरही, भारतको बिहार स्थित करुणा स्थान हुँदै जनकपुर पुग्दछन्।
महात्मा उल्लेख भए अनुसार कलानेश्वर आरभ्य निवसेद गिरिजालय, कलानेश्वरमा सुरु गर्ने र गिरिजा स्थानमा बस्ने, त्यसपछि तृतीयायाम मृतखनी, यो तृतीया तिथिको दिनमा यहाँ लक्ष्मीनारायणको मठ र संस्कृत विद्या प्राच्य विद्याको धरोहर यो मटिहानीमा बासबसी परिक्रमा जलेश्वर आरम्भेत कलानेश्वर निवसेत जलेश्वर ततः परम क्षीरेश्वरम ततः परम सतोखर धाम। यो 15 दिनको जो परिक्रमा हुन्छ यसमा तपाईको चतुर्दशीको सबै जम्मा हुन्छन् र 15 दिन जम्मा अमावास्याको कलानेश्वरमा आएर जम्मा हुन्छन्, प्रतिपदा तिथिको र द्वितीयाको तपाईको गिरिजा स्थान आउँछन्, तृतीयाको मटिहानीमा निवास गरेर यो हजारौं साधु सन्तहरू गृहस्थहरू यसमा देश विदेशका दर्शनार्थीहरू गृहस्थ सन्यासी विद्वान र आम सर्वसाधारणहरू चौथी तिथिको बाबा प्रसिद्ध जलेश्वरनाथ महादेव स्थान जलेश्वरमा गएर बस्छन्। त्यसै 5औं दिन माण्डव्य आश्रम जो मरै हो भन्ने ठाउँ त्यहाँ निवास गर्छन् र छैटौं दिन ध्रुवकुण्ड र 7औं दिनमा तपाईको ध्रुवकुण्डबाट कञ्चनवनमा जहाँ चाहिँ होली खेल्नु भएको छ राम सीताजीले र त्यसपछि सतोखर 7वटा ऋषिको आश्रम छ, सतोखर धाम महादेव त्यहाँ बस्छन्। त्यसपछि पर्वता अनि धनुषा धाम अनि औरी र करुणा बिसौल हुँदै 15औं दिनमा जनकपुर आइपुग्छन् र यो अन्तिम परिक्रमा गरेर के गर्छन् त समाप्ति हुन्छन्। जसले बृहती परिक्रमा गर्न सकेको छैन त्यो 5 दिनको परिक्रमा गर्छ र जो 5 दिनको पनि गर्न सक्दैन उनीहरूको लागि यो अन्तगृही छ, अन्त्यगृही यस्य अन्तगृही परिक्रमा गरेर परिक्रमा समाप्त हुन्छ।
यो जनकपुरको हनुमान नगरबाट प्रारम्भ भएर भारतको कलानेश्वर, त्यस पछाडि फुलहर, मटिहानी, जलेश्वर, मडै, ध्रुवकुण्ड, कञ्चनवन, त्यस पछाडि सतोखर, औरी, त्यस पछाडि फेरि पनि कलानेश्वर पुगेर चाहिँ यो जनकपुरको अन्तगिरी परिक्रमामा सम्मिलित भएपछि यसको चाहिँ समापन हुने गरेको छ।
यात्रीहरू जनकपुर आइपुगेको दिन अर्थात् 15औं दिनको राति होलिका दहन गर्ने र भोलिपल्ट धुरी उडाउने गरिन्छ। होलिका दहन र धुरा उडाउने सत्ययुगकालीन घटना स्मरण गरिएको विश्वास गरिन्छ। दानवराज हिरण्यकीय शिपुले विष्णुभक्त छोरालाई मार्न आगोले नपोल्ने अभय वरदान पाएकी बहिनी होलिकाको काखमा छोरा प्रहलादलाई अग्निकुण्डमा राखिँदा होलिका आगोले भस्म भएकी पुराणमा वर्णन छ। विष्णुभक्त प्रहलादलाई भने आगोले छोएको थिए। परिक्रमाको अन्तिम राति सोही घटनाको सम्झनामा दानवीय प्रकृतिकी होलिकाको अन्त्य भएको सम्झनामा उनको आकृतिलाई आगो लगाउने हिन्दू मैथिल परम्परा छ। भोलिपल्ट होलिका दहन गरिएको खरानीको धुलो उडाएर राक्षसी प्रवृत्ति अन्त्य भएको खुसियाली मनाइएको पौराणिक कथालाई पछि धुरा उडाउने भनिएको मानिन्छ। होलिका दहनको भोलिपल्ट जनकपुरको अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरी यो यात्रा टुङ्गिन्छ। हरेक पाइलामा अश्वमेघ यात्रा बराबरको फल प्राप्त हुने मान्यताका साथ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरिने गरिन्छ।
यो ठाउँमा वास्तवमा प्रत्येक पाइलामा अश्वमेध यज्ञ भएको चर्चा हामीले पौराणिक ग्रन्थहरूमा पाउँछौँ, हरेक पाइलामा। त्यसैले त्यो चाहिँ प्रत्येक पाइला हाम्रो निम्ति चन्दन हो र त्यो चाहिँ सके नसकेर मात्रै हो, यदि सक्ने हो भनेदेखि यहाँ त खुट्टाले हिँड्नै हुँदैन, टाउको टेकेर हिँड्नुपर्छ। त्यस्तो पवित्र बाटो हो यो, प्रत्येक कण यसको चन्दन हो। त त्यसैले त्यो चाहिँ यो यात्रा फलदायी हुन्छ।
परिक्रमाका यात्रीहरूले यात्रा पश्चात पिडारी चोकमा रहेको गोरधुवाई पोखरीमा आफ्नो खुट्टा पखाल्ने गर्दछन्। माता सीताले सो पोखरीमा आफ्नो खुट्टा पखालेको किम्वदन्ती छ।
गोरधुवाई पोखरीको यस्तो छ परम्परा, हामीहरूमा भन्छन् जानकीजीले नगर जुन बेला घुम्नु भएको थियो त्यो बेला त्यहाँ गएर आचमन र चरण चाहिँ धुनु भएको थियो। अनि त्यो हिसाबले यो नगरकै परिक्रमा हो। त अहिले त्यही गर्छन्, त्यहाँ गएर आचमन यहाँ हात खुट्टा धोएर अनि मुखमा चाहिँ आचमन जल छर्किन्छन्, किनभने उहाँको चरणको चाहिँ जल हो त्यो सम्झेर। त्यहाँ अहिले पनि त्यही परम्परामा मिथिलावासी यहाँ भक्तजनहरू पनि गर्छन्।
परिक्रमा सकेको भोलिपल्ट मात्र मिथिलामा होली खेल्ने परम्परा छ। माध्यमिक परिक्रमाको स्वरूप अनौठो छ। बिना निम्तो यसमा लाखौं भक्तजन सहभागी हुने गर्दछन्। सहभागी यात्रीहरू यात्रा अवधिभर खाली खुट्टा नै हिँड्ने गर्दछन्। ढोलक, झायल, करताल, हार्मोनियमको तालमा कीर्तन मण्डली नाच्छन्। जय सिया राम भन्दै भगवानको महिमा गाउँदछन्। यो संगीतमय वातावरणले जो कोहीलाई पनि मन्त्रमुग्ध बनाउँछ। मानिसहरू वर्षभरिका दुःख बिर्सिन्छन्। गृहस्थी जीवनबाट समय निकाले भगवानप्रति आस्था राख्नेहरू तीर्थयात्रामा सामेल हुन्छन्। परिक्रमा आउनु अगावै यसको तयारीमा भक्तजनहरू जुड्दछन्। मानव नै भगवान हो। दुःख परेकालाई सहयोग गर्दा, भोकालाई भोजन गराउँदा पुण्य प्राप्ति हुन्छ भन्ने मान्यता राखेर स्थानीय स्वयंले यात्रीहरूको लागि खाद्यान्न, खानेपानी तथा स्वास्थ्य उपचारको व्यवस्था गरेका हुन्छन्।
स्वास्थ्य शिविर राम्रो छ। हामीले स्वास्थ्य शिविरमा पनि प्रेसरहरू जचायौँ। खाना ओर्न ठाउँ ठाउँमा चिया, पानी, नास्ता सबै बाँडिरहेको छ। हामीले केही उहाँहरूले गरेको पानीहरू पनि युज गऱ्यौँ। कति ठाउँमा लिनलाई अलिकति मिलेन, कति ठाउँमा लियौँ। स्नान गर्दै गर्दै अनि हामी आयौँ। राम्रो लागिरहेछ।
यात्रीको स्वागत गर्न स्थानीय सबै एकजुट भएर लाग्दछन्। एक विश्राम स्थलबाट अर्को विश्राम स्थल जाँदा स्थानीय सरकार, स्थानीय विभिन्न संघ संस्था लगायत सडकमा लामबद्ध हुन्छन्। उनीहरू परिक्रमाका यात्रीहरूलाई भव्य स्वागत गरेर आफ्नो ठाउँमा भित्र्याउँछन् भने भोलिपल्ट हर्ष बढाई गर्दै विदाई गरेर अर्को विश्राम स्थलमा पठाउँछन्। यात्री तथा धर्मावलम्बीहरू वर्षभरि भएका सबै क्रोध, झै झगडालाई बिर्सिँदै धार्मिक मेलामा रमाउँछन्। विशेष गरेर ज्येष्ठ नागरिकहरू परिक्रमामा सहभागी हुन्छन्। मिथिलामा छोरा बुहारीहरू घर व्यवहार सम्हालेपछि जीवनमा कम्तीमा पनि एकपटक माध्यमिक परिक्रमा गर्ने इच्छा हुन्छ। अधिकांश सहभागी 15 दिनको सामल, लत्ता कपडा, औषधि आदि सँगै बोकेर हिँड्छन्। साधुहरू भने आफूसँग आफ्ना गाई, घोडा, बाँदर सहित परिक्रमा गर्दछन्। यो परिक्रमाले आन्तरिक तथा बाह्य पर्यटनलाई समेत बढावा दिएको छ।
हामीले सांस्कृतिक पर्यटनको दृष्टिले समृद्धिका कुरा गर्छौँ नेपालको प्रसङ्गमा, यसले चाहिँ त्यो आर्थिक समृद्धिलाई पनि, किनभनेदेखि त्यो धेरै ठाउँका मान्छेहरू सम्मिलित हुन्छन्, त्यो चाहिँ पर्यटनको विकास हुन्छ, त्यो एउटा चाहिँ पाटो। अर्को चाहिँ नेपाल भारत सम्बन्धको दृष्टिले पनि यो अत्यन्त नै बलियो सूत्र हो, जसले चाहिँ दुवै देशलाई भावनात्मक रूपले बाँध्दछ। जसरी खोलाको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन, जसरी त्यो चाहिँ आकाशको इन्द्रेणीको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन, त्यसै गरेर नै त्यो संस्कृतिको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन। त्यो चाहिँ राजनीतिक सीमा भिन्न कुरो हो, सांस्कृतिक सीमा एउटा भिन्न कुरो हो। त्यसैले चाहिँ सम्पूर्ण मिथिलाञ्चललाई त्यो चाहिँ समेट्ने गर्दछ यस परिक्रमाले, अन्तर्गतीय परिक्रमाले पनि र त्यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमाले।
यसले नेपाल भारत बीचको सम्बन्धलाई पनि बलियो बनाएको छ। यसले नेपाल र भारतको बीचको रोटी बेटीको सम्बन्धलाई संरक्षण, सम्वर्धन तथा प्रवर्धन गर्दछ। मिथिला परिक्रमा हाम्रो संस्कृति, हाम्रो सभ्यता हो। यस्ता संस्कृति र सभ्यताको संरक्षण, सम्वर्धन तथा प्रवर्धन गर्नु सरकारको मात्र नभई हामी सबैको दायित्व पनि हो।
Nepal, a land of unparalleled natural beauty and rich heritage. Tucked in the heart of Himalayas, this small yet mighty country is a living tapestry of religious, cultural, and historical significance. The capital city of Kathmandu sits like a jewel at the crossroads of time, surrounded by towering peaks and the lush landscapes of Kathmandu Valley. The vibrant city is home to a unique blend of cultural families, each deeply rooted in the traditions that have shaped Nepal for centuries. Kathmandu is a city where history, religion, and art are not just preserved but actively celebrated. This city is also the proud home to 7 of the world's most significant cultural heritage sites, all of which are recognized by UNESCO. For centuries, the people of Nepal have dreamed of sharing their nation's unique story with the world. And Nepal and its people have captured the world's attention and admiration. It is a place that draws people from every corner of the globe, inspiring awe with its ancient temples, stunning architecture, and deeply rooted spiritual legacy. In 1989, UNESCO declared 3 historical zones in Kathmandu as World Heritage Sites, including 2 Buddhist stupas and 2 Hindu temples. One such remarkable site is the Hanuman Thoka Darbar Square, a historical treasure located in the heart of Kathmandu Valley. The legacy of ancient kings is written in every stone of this sacred ground, from the reign of King Ratna Malla to that of mighty King Bir Bikram,
Hanuman Dhoka has been a central figure in the cultural and political life of Nepal. Here, the temple of Taleju, Jagannath, Shiva Parvati, the massive Thulo Ghanta, Kal Bhairav Shrine, Maiju Devo, and the Kumari Kal are among the most important landmarks. The intricacy of the temples, the carvings, the statues, and the entire architectural composition bear witness to the authenticity and craftsmanship of Nepalese art. The preservation of these artifacts is crucial as many of them are unique to Nepal and cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Each day, hundreds of international tourists visit this place not only to witness its beauty, but also to learn about its cultural and historical significance. Many scholars and academics visit Kathmandu to study the profound artistic and architectural heritage found in the city. Another historical gem is the Patan Darbar Square, an ancient palace complex that dates back to Malla dynasty. Located in the city of Patan, which is also known as the City of Art, the square is a testament to the creativity and devotion of Malla kings. Built during the 17th and 18th centuries, Patan's magnificent temples and palaces were commissioned by King Siddhi Narsingh, King Srinivas, and King Yoganendra Malla, whose influence is still visible in the area's grand architecture. Some of Patan's most famous landmarks include Mool Chowk, Sundari Chowk, Bhimsen Mandir, Krishna Mandir, Taleju, and Kumbheshwar Mandir. Among these, Sundari Chowk is an attraction in itself, and nearby Tusa Hiti Dhara, a traditional water spout, adds an authentic touch to the cultural experience. The Krishna Mandir, built in the distinct Shikhara style, is another highlight. This temple is particularly famous for its stone carvings depicting scenes from the Ramayana and Mahabharata, an absolute visual feast for visitors. For centuries, Patan has stood as a symbol of artistic excellence.
The Rato Machinanath Jatra, a festival celebrated not only as the pride of Lalitpur, but also recognized globally for its cultural significance, has just concluded. This year, beginning on May 18, we launched a 40-day campaign showcasing the grandeur of the procession. The participation throughout the festival was truly encouraging. Last year, we welcomed around 200,000 visitors. This year, by mid-June alone, the footfall has already surpassed 225,000. This achievement fills us with immense pride, while also reminding us that there is still much more to accomplish. We currently offer a guided tour from Patan Dhoka to museum, completely free of cost, with the aim of establishing our heritage as a living part of our collective identity. Patan Museum has long been committed to safeguarding both the tangible and intangible cultural heritage of this region. It serves not only as a local exhibition space, but as a vital destination dedicated to preserving and celebrating the culture of this historic city. Our tangible inheritances, many of them dating back to the Lichavi era, stand as remarkable non-living heritage, while our festivals, rituals and processions embody the vibrancy of our living traditions. Both forms of heritage are invaluable to us. It is our responsibility to protect them, nurture them, and ensure they pass down to the future generations with the same reverence with which we receive them. International tourists travel to Nepal to experience the richness of our natural and cultural heritage. Our historical buildings, artifacts, sacred idols form an integral part of that experience. Many visitors take the time to explore, observe, and fully immerse themselves in the stories these treasures hold.
Established by the King Bardev, the city was originally known as Lalitpuri Adina. It was not just the royal home, but the administrative heart of the region. The intricate woodwork, the timeless architecture, and the thriving cultural scene make Patan a perfect example of Nepal's historical richness. Bhaktapur, another ancient city, takes its place among the jewels of Nepal. Known for its stunning art, culture, and architecture, Bhaktapur is a city that has preserved its medieval charm. According to Gopal Raj's genealogy, the city was established by King Anandadev. The Bhaktapur Darbar Square is one of the most captivating sites, with attractions like Singhadwar, Swarnadwar, Chardham, and Nyatapol Mandir. Among these, the Pachpanna Jhale Darbar, or the palace with 55 windows, stands out as an iconic symbol of Bhaktapur's rich history. This palace, originally built during King Yakshamalla's reign and later reconstructed by King Bhupatendra in the 17th century, is one of the finest examples of the Malla period's architectural prowess. The art gallery within the palace is also a significant attraction for tourists and art lovers. The cultural heritage of Bhaktapur is alive and well.
Now we are in Bhaktapur and we are very surprised about the city. It's like incredible. Imagine that from how long this city has been with human beings and culture around. So we are very impressed. Probably one of the most beautiful cities that we ever seen. The construction, the architecture is very nice. The bricks, that is like all the city made from bricks and wood. And the people also is very happy, very friendly. You can move easily from anywhere because they have transport for everywhere. Take a long time be in the roads because the roads are not so good, but you can do to any place. So it's very easy to move. It's very beautiful to see, and it's very satisfied for your heart. This kind of culture.
Bhaktapur, who is one of the most beautiful cities that I never seen before. It's a very ancient city. Some temples were constructed like in 12th century. So you feel like in other time, and you can walk a lot of days and you can see the smile of the people, the street, this history. So we are very impressed and happy to came to this country. Every day I send pictures to them, to my family, and they are so impressive too. I think that this country is a very complete country to expand a holiday or a long trip, wherever you can do. You can be in different parts with different views and history and culture. So I invite to all you to come to Nepal and enjoy this beautiful place.
From the Kumars who craft their signature mud products to the intricate wooden crafts that define the city, Bhaktapur offers a window into traditional lifestyle of the Malla era. The famous black cap, Bhatgaule Topi, worn by Nepali men, also originates here, a small yet meaningful piece of cultural pride. On the spiritual front, Pashupatinath Temple is one of the most revered religious sites in Nepal and across the Hindu world. The temple, built in pagoda style, stands as a beacon of faith for millions of Hindus worldwide. It is believed that a pilgrimage to Pashupatinath is equivalent to visiting 4 sacred dhams of India. Built by King Bhupatendra Malla, this temple serves as a center of worship for a diverse array of spiritual communities, including Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, and others. The Pashupatinath complex is rich with temples, shrines, and sacred sites, each one steeped in centuries of religious history. One of the most significant festivals here is Shivaratri, a grand celebration of Lord Shiva that attracts thousands of devotees from around the world. Every year, during the special month of Shravan, the temple hosts vibrant rituals and ceremonies, drawing pilgrims to witness these sacred observances. The surrounding Slaes-Mantak forest adds to the serene atmosphere of Pashupatinath. The temple's unique wooden structures, gilded pinnacles, and the bronze statue of Nandi at the entrance all contribute to the spiritual ambience. The daily evening lighting ceremony at the Pashupatinath is a tranquil and profound experience for both locals and international visitors alike. Swambhunath, also known as the Monkey Temple, is another spiritual landmark in Kathmandu. Perched atop the Padmakantagiri hill, this ancient stupa offers sweeping views of the entire valley. The temple is especially important for Buddhists who revere it as a place of profound spiritual significance. Legends say it was here that the Bipasri Buddha meditated, marking the beginning of Kathmandu Valley's spiritual foundation. Swambhunath's 2 all-seeing eyes, which watch over the valley, are a powerful symbol of justice and wisdom. Visitors who climb the 365 steps to reach the stupa are greeted not only by the temple's beauty, but by the entire history of Nepal, etched in every stone and statue. The region also houses a museum and a library, both offering further insight into Nepal's religious and cultural past. Equally impressive is the Bodhanath Stupa, one of the largest in South Asia. Built in the 5th century, the stupa is a testament to Nepal's enduring connection to Tibetan Buddhism. The legend surrounding Bodhanath's construction is as captivating as its physical presence. It is said that the king, upon being asked if the stupa could be built, mistakenly replied in the affirmative, leading to the creation of this sacred monument. Bodhanath has become a hub for the Tibetan Buddhist community, especially during Losar festival, celebrated by Sherpa people. Its significance stretches beyond Nepal, linking the country to broader Buddhist world. The Changunarayan temple, located on the outskirts of Bhaktapur, is another example of Nepal's ancient cultural heritage. Built in the 4th century BCE, it is one of the oldest Hindu temples in Kathmandu Valley. Its intricate woodwork, stunning carvings and inscriptions make it a true architectural marvel. Dedicated to Lord Vishnu, the temple is a site of pilgrimage for Hindus and is also renowned for its artistry and craftsmanship.
At least 4 killed and 6 injured in landslide in western Nepal. 200 displaced residents sheltered as heavy rain raises further risk. Indian Army Chief arrives in Nepal for 4-day visit. Honorary general rank to be conferred. Opposition Nepali Congress establishment faction ends national conference. Rejects special convention, calls for 15th general convention. Iran links Hormuz shipping resumption to U.S. guarantees. Tehran continues Oman talks as Qatar rejects pilot detention claim. 51 killed and thousands evacuated post-Indonesia earthquake. 7.7 magnitude quake triggers landslides and blocks road. And Bangladesh makes history with test win over Australia. 9-wicket victory gives visitors 1-0 series lead. Hello there, I am April Singh Lama and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Few people have died and 6 others have been injured in a rain-triggered landslide in Pheri Municipality 2 of Jajarkot district in western Nepal. Around 200 people from 70 displaced households have been sheltered at Tribhuvan Basic School, while residents from other vulnerable settlements have also been evacuated to safer areas. The Karnali provincial government has sent blankets, food and tents, with authorities promising further relief and rehabilitation. Rescue and relief teams have been deployed as continued rainfall leaves the area at high risk of additional landslides. Now we'll take an in-depth look at the monsoon and disasters across the country in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. Now, Indian Army Chief General Dheeraj Sheth has arrived in Kathmandu for a 4-day official visit at the invitation of Nepal's Chief of Army Staff General Ashok Raj Sigdel. Sheth is leading a 5-member delegation, including his wife Komal Sheth, and was welcomed at Tribhuvan International Airport by Lieutenant General Pradeep Jung Casey and his wife. During the visit, President Ramchandra Paudel is scheduled to confer the honorary rank of General of the Nepal Army on Sheth at a special ceremony at Sheetal Niwas. The Nepal Army says the high-level visit is expected to further strengthen and deepen the long-standing military ties between Nepal and India. Now, a 3-day national conference of the establishment faction of Nepal's main opposition, Nepali Congress, has concluded in Kathmandu with a 5-point declaration. The faction resolved to hold the party's 15th General Convention under the organizational structure and decisions of the Central Working Committee elected by the 14th General Convention. It also pledged to strengthen nationalism and democracy through dialogue with national and democratic forces and call for constitutional amendments in line with public expectations, while highlighting Nepal's ancient religious and cultural traditions as part of its national identity. The faction continues to reject the legitimacy of the Nepali Congress Special Convention that elected Gagan Kumar Thapa as party president and formed a new Central Working Committee. We'll see more on the current activities of the large opposition parties in our cover story later in the bulletin. Moving on, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said Tehran is continuing talks with Oman on shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz, but warns reopening the waterway will depend on the U.S. upholding the MOU signed in June. Araghchi said Iran wants guarantees that the agreement will be respected before normal shipping can resume through the strategic waterway. The Strait of Hormuz remains a critical global energy route carrying a significant share of the world's oil and gas shipment. Meanwhile, Qatar denies Iran's claims that it is holding captive 3 Iranian pilots whose planes crashed in the Gulf state in the early days of the U.S. and Israel's war. Around 5,000 people have been evacuated after a magnitude 7.7 earthquake smashed an area in eastern Indonesia, killing at least 51, blocking roads and causing landslide, authorities said on Sunday. 36 people were seriously injured in the Saturday morning quake in East Nusa Tenggara province, while 77 had minor injuries. The quake, followed by some 341 aftershocks, is the Southeast Asia nation's worst in years. Hundreds died after the 2022 earthquake in West Java, Indonesia. A sprawling archipelago of 290 million people straddles the Pacific Ring of Fire, a seismically active zone where tectonic plates meet, triggering frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Bangladesh have secured a historic 9-wicket victory over Australia in the first test in Darwin, recording their first test win on Australian soil. Australia, who scored 198 in their first innings, were bowled out for 284 in the second after Bangladesh posted 426, leaving the visitors a target of just 57 runs. Bangladesh reached the target for the loss of 1 wicket with Monamil Haq unbeaten on 30 and Shadman Islam on 25. Mahidi Hassan Miraj took 5 wickets for 66 runs in Australia's second innings, while Hassan Mahmood was named player of the match after taking 9 wickets in the match. Cameron Green's 104 was Australia's only major batting contribution in the second innings, but it could not prevent Bangladesh from taking a 1-0 lead in the 2-test series. Now, monsoon rains are intensifying, and with them comes the growing threat of landslides, floods and displacement across the country. So how prepared are we to deal with these disasters, and what more needs to be done to protect vulnerable communities? Stay with us for the issue of the day.
You're watching NTV World News Hour with April Lama. Welcome back. At least 4 people have died and 6 others have been injured in a landslide triggered by incessant rains in Pheri municipality to Jajarkot in western Nepal. The victims have been identified as 70-year-old Bhim Bahadur Karki, 87-year-old Rati Khatri, his 54-year-old son Uma Singh Khatri and 52-year-old Kedar Karki, who died while receiving treatment at a medical college in Kohalpur. Around 200 people from 70 households displaced by the landslide have been sheltered at Trivun Basic School, while residents from several other vulnerable settlements have also been moved to safer locations. Karnali provincial government has dispatched tarpaulins, blankets, food and tents, while authorities say immediate relief and longer-term rehabilitation will be provided to affected families. With heavy rain continuing and the area remaining at high risk of further landslides, security personnel have been deployed to assist with the rescue, evacuation and relief operations. The Sirubari landslide in Myagdi district has emerged as a major obstacle on Nepal's Beni-Jomsom-Korala road, a key route linking northern Nepal with the China border and connecting Mustang to the national highway. Landslides along the Kali-Gandaki River corridor have repeatedly disrupted traffic, with passenger buses and other vehicles frequently stranded during the monsoon. Local officials have proposed installing 2 Bailey bridges as a temporary measure, while calling for a permanent landslide control project to secure the route. The road has faced its most frequent blockages at Sirubari since the start of this year's rainy season, affecting travel to and from the tourist district of Mustang. Infrastructure Development Minister Sunil Lamsal inspected the site last month and pledged to arrange funding for landslide control work during the current fiscal year. Monsoon winds are continuing to affect Nepal, with cloudy conditions and rainfall reported across several parts of the country today. Department of Hydrology and Meteorology says moderate rain occurring in many areas of Bagmati and Gandaki provinces, with some rainfall in Lumbini and Karnali and isolated showers in the hills of Koshi province. Further rain accompanied by thunder and lightning was predicted this afternoon, particularly across the mountainous and hilly regions of Gandaki, Lumbini, Karnali and Sudur Paschim provinces. Heavy rainfall is also likely in parts of Gandaki and Karnali as well as isolated areas of Lumbini and Sudur Paschim, raising the risk of weather-related disruptions. Authorities have urged people to take necessary precautions and stay updated, as the rain could affect agriculture, health, tourism, roads, aviation and other daily activities. Nepal government will deploy geological study teams to landslide-affected areas of Rolpa, Bajura and Jajarkot following damage caused by incessant monsoon rains. The teams, led by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority with support from the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, are expected to reach the affected areas within 3 days to conduct preliminary assessments. Authorities have also called for more effective distribution of relief and grants in affected districts, including Rolpa, Jajarkot and Bajang, and urged local governments to expedite temporary housing and rehabilitation. Officials have warned of increased risks of landslides, floods, flash floods and inundation in the Himalayan and hilly regions, and urged people to remain vigilant throughout the monsoon. Now, in a bid to mitigate the risks posed by monsoon-related disasters, Nepal government has been carrying out preparedness, relief and rescue operations across all 77 districts. However, incidents of monsoon-induced disasters are on a rise in recent days, prompting authorities to urge public to remain vigilant. Sabika Shrestha along with Pawan Barsasha brings more.
The Nepal government has intensified preparedness, rescue and relief efforts across all 77 districts as monsoon-related disasters continue to rise in several parts of the country. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority has urged residents to remain on high alert in the hilly and mountainous areas of all provinces except Kosi and Madhes, citing a heightened risk of landslides during the mid-monsoon period. The authority has issued particular warnings for the high hilly and mountainous areas of Sudar Pashchim, Karnali and Gandaki provinces where heavy rainfall and landslides have posed the greatest risk in recent days. Meanwhile, the hilly areas of Bagmati and Lumbini provinces also remain vulnerable to landslides and floods. Authorities have called on the public to closely monitor weather and disaster-related updates and follow safety advice issued by government agencies, media outlets, and disaster management experts.
आफू सँगसँगै अरू समुदायलाई पनि सूचना दिने गर्नुपर्छ भने आफ्नो वासस्थान रहेको स्थान चाहिँ कतिको सुरक्षित छ कि छैन त्यहाँ जस्तो पहिरो जाने भन्दा अगाडि पनि केही संकेतहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यसपछि माटो अलि बढी भिजेको हुन्छ कहीँ चिरा परेको हुन सक्छ कहीँ ठाउँहरू रुखहरू अलि ढल्केकाहरू हुन सक्छन् यस्ता विषयमा पनि ध्यान दिनु पर्यो विशेष गरी रातिको समयमा चाहिँ हामी निन्द्रामा पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ पहिरोमाथि अडाएर घरै पुरिएर धेरै मानिसहरूको हताहती भएको पनि हामीले घटना सुनेका छौं राति पनि यस्तो अवस्था छ भने सुत्नु पनि भएन के सुत्नु भएन वा बेलुका नै सुरक्षित कहीं स्थानमा गएर केही दिनको लागि गर्नुपर्छ भने लङ लास्टिङमा चाहिँ हामीले त्यस्तो असुरक्षित स्थानमा बस्नु हुँदैन.
Since the onset of the monsoon, at least 65 persons have died in rain-related incidents, including floods, landslides, inundation, and lightning strikes as of Sunday, while 119 others have been injured. In addition, 8 persons remain missing and 1,414 households have been directly affected by monsoon-related disasters, according to authorities. The authority estimates that more than 226,000 persons from around 51,800 households across the country could be affected by disasters during this monsoon season. A disaster response plan has been implemented across all 77 districts in coordination with the federal, provincial, and local governments. Relief supplies have been pre-positioned while designated contact persons have been assigned in each district to facilitate a swift response during emergencies. Meanwhile, the government have also urged people to use the emergency number 1234 in the event of a disaster. Calls are routed to the 24-hour disaster call center in the district, from where the call is made with a mechanism in a place to mobilize rescue teams within 30 minutes of receiving an alert. Sabika Shrestha, NTV World.
Now, in this context, we asked the general public in Palpa and Surkhet how aware they are of disaster-related issues. Let's hear what they had to say.
हामीले कोही मानव खोलाको नजिक बसिरहेको छ भने त्यो मानवलाई गएर श्रमदायी बुझाइ गरेर खोलाको नजिक बस्नु हुँदैन यसले अरूलाई होइन तपाईलाई नै हानि गर्छ भनेर त्यहाँ गएर हामीले श्रमदायी बुझाइ गर्न जरुरी छ.
सरकार एक्लैले विपद नियन्त्रण गर्छु भन्यो भने म फाल्दै जान्छु तिमीले मलाई रेस्क्यु गर अथवा तान्दै जाऊ भने जस्तो हो. त्यसैले मानिसले गर्ने व्यवहार र क्रियाकलापहरूलाई पनि ठिक ढंगले व्यवस्थापन गर्ने तर्फ सोच्नुपर्छ.
विपदको पूर्व सूचना दिने सरकारी निकाय छन् तिनीहरूले छिटो त्वरित र प्रभावकारी रूपमा सूचनाहरू आम नागरिकसम्म के को माध्यमबाट हुन्छ त्यो मोबाइलको सञ्चारको माध्यमबाट दिनु पर्यो र त्यो सूचना पाइसकेपछि आम नागरिकले प्रहरी प्रशासनसँग सहजीकरण गरेर आफू कसरी भइन्छ सजग रूपले बस्ने र सुरक्षाका उपायहरू अपनाउनु पर्ने.
जुन ठाउँमा है पहाडी क्षेत्रमा अब कहिले बाढी आउला पहिरो आउला त्यस ठाउँमा डोजरको व्यवस्था अन्य एम्बुलेन्सको व्यवस्था र अब त्यसमा सरकारले लागि पर्ने स्थानीय सरकारदेखि लिएर अनि पुलिस प्रशासन ट्राफिकहरू पनि सबैले सहयोग गर्दा त्यही राम्रो हुने थियो.
बाटोमा त अब गाडीहरूको आवागमनका निमित्त जहाँ जहाँ डोजरहरू राखिएको छ अहिले पनि राखिएका छन् हैन तिनलाई परिचालन गर्नको निमित्त सरकारले त्यो किसिमको पनि त पहल गर्नु पर्यो हैन. दूरी कसरी राख्नुपर्ने र कसरी त्यसलाई चाहिँ आवागमन सहज हुन्छ त्यो किसिमको एउटा वातावरण बनाउनु पर्छ.
Moving on, Nepal's main opposition party, Nepali Congress, has reaffirmed its faith in Nepal's judiciary as divisions within the party continue to shape its political course. Meanwhile, another opposition, CPN-UML, is also facing internal challenges, with its leadership coming under pressure. At a time when the incumbent government is facing intense scrutiny on multiple fronts, the opposition parties too remain preoccupied with their internal affairs. More on this after the break. watching NTV World News Hour. Time for the cover story. A three-day national gathering of the establishment faction of Nepal's main opposition, Nepali Congress, has ended in Kathmandu, issuing a 5-point declaration. Led by former party General Secretary Dr. Shashank Koirala, the faction said the party's 15th General Convention should be organized under the framework and decisions of the Central Working Committee elected by the 14th General Convention. The group also called for strengthening democracy and nationalism through dialogue with national and democratic forces, while supporting necessary constitutional amendments and recognizing Nepal's long-standing religious and cultural traditions as part of its national identity. The faction continues to challenge the legitimacy of the party's special convention, which elected Gagan Kumar Thapa as president and formed a new Central Working Committee. Former Nepali Congress President and former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba has reaffirmed his full faith in Nepal's judiciary, saying the courts have delivered justice to him and his party since the Panchayat era. Speaking at the conclusion of the three-day national gathering of the party's founding faction, Deuba thanked party leaders and cadres for their support and goodwill, saying he would not forget their backing.
अधिवेशनमा मैले भने पनि थिएन त्यो चाहिँ त्यसलाई मैले भनेको थिएँ सबै पार्टीको सहमतिले गरौँ विशेष महाधिवेशन यसरी नगर्नु भन्दा भन्दै जबरजस्ती विशेष महाधिवेशन गरेर अन्य बोल तरिकालाई धेरै साथीहरूलाई बाहिर राख्यो त्यसको खिलाफमा हामीले अदालतमा गयौँ अदालतले भनेको छ यो त अन्याय भयो भनेर मलाई विश्वास छ अदालतको पूर्ण पाठाउनु बाँकी छ अदालतको पूर्ण निर्णय आउनु बाँकी छ
Deuba returned to Nepal on Thursday after receiving medical treatment abroad for 5 months. Meeting coordinator and former Nepali Congress General Secretary Dr. Shashank Koirala said the gathering aimed to strengthen unity within the party and brought leaders and cadres together while endorsing resolutions on preparations for the party's 15th General Convention and constitutional amendments. The faction did not participate in the Nepali Congress Special Convention held in January, which elected Gagan Kumar Thapa as party president and a new Central Working Committee, and has continued to challenge the convention's legality. Nepali Congress President Gagan Kumar Thapa has cautioned party leaders against interpreting the ideas and decisions of party founder BP Koirala to suit their political interests. Speaking at the launch of the book, BP Bidrohaka Tidin by author Dharma Gautam, Thapa described Koirala as a visionary thinker whose ideas extended beyond party politics. Thapa said Koirala's national reconciliation policy, introduced in 1976 in response to Nepal's political circumstances at the time, was closely linked to national sovereignty and democratic values. Thapa criticized recent attempts by Congress leaders to invoke Koirala's legacy of national reconciliation whenever it serves their political interests.
हाम्रो पछिल्लो समयको हाम्रो परम्परा कति सन्दर्भमा के रह्यो भने आफूलाई जहाँनिर चाहिन्छ बिपी कोइरालालाई त्यहाँनिर प्रयोग गर्ने म अहिले पनि हेरिरहेको छु सुनिरहेको छु ठाउँ ठाउँमा भइरहेका छलफलहरुमा बिपी कोइरालाको राष्ट्रिय मेलमिलापको सन्दर्भ अहिले एकदम व्यापक आइरहेको छ नेताले फेरि यो रातारात बिपीलाई सम्झाउनु भएको छ रातारात बिपीलाई सम्झाउँदा इट्स टु ट्रान्जेक्शनल यहाँ भित्रको अहिले के गर्नु परेको छ कोसँग मिलाउनु परेको छ कोसँग कानेखुसी गर्नु परेको छ त्यसको लागि फेरि हिम्मत छैन फेरि आफै आएर भन्ने फेरि म यसो गर्छु भन्ने हिम्मत छैन त्यो हिम्मत नभएपछि के हुन्छ भने कसलाई सम्झने भन्दा बिपीलाई सम्झने बिपी त आउनु नभए बुझाउन त आउनु त्यसरी यो बेलामा को आइदिनु पर्छ अगाडि पनि धर्मको त म राखिदिनु पर्छ तिमीहरूले भनेको जस्तो बिपी होइन है बिपी हामीले पनि बुझाएको छ
Nepali Congress establishment faction has rejected the resolutions adopted by a rival faction at its recent national conference, deepening an ongoing dispute within Nepal's main opposition party. Party spokesperson Devraj Chalise said the proposal to hold the 15th General Convention under the leadership of Sher Bahadur Deuba's faction is not supported by the party statute. He said the disagreements should be settled through the party's internal forums arguing that party leadership should be decided by the organization rather than by the courts. Chalise maintained that Gagan Kumar Thapa's election as party president at the Special General Convention followed the party's statute and has been recognized by both the court and the Election Commission. He urged the establishment faction to take its disputed issues to the 15th General Convention and present them as an agenda for party members to decide. Meanwhile, opposition CPN-UMO is also facing internal upheaval. Chairperson and former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said any leadership change in the party will take place strictly according to its established processes and statute. Speaking at the launch of the party's Mission Janajagaran program in Birtamo Jhapa, Oli said leadership cannot be changed through private meetings or social media campaigns. He alleged that some party members who have repeatedly received opportunities are now organizing against his leadership and demanding his removal.
पार्टी का विचार बोक्नुपर्छ विचार ठीक छैन भन्ने लाग्यो भने आन्तरिक रूपमा छलफल गर्नुपर्छ म यो पार्टीको अध्यक्षको हिसाबले आलोचना कसैको छ भने पक्ष विपक्ष विरोधी कसैको पनि आलोचना सुन्न तयार छु यसकारण कि कमी कमजोरी छन् भने हटाउनै पर्दछ गल्ती छ भने सच्याउनै पर्दछ गलत बोकेर हिँड्न पाइँदैन त्यसमा पनि माथिको नेताले गलत आचरण गर्न पाइँदैन गलत व्यवहार गर्न पाइँदैन.
Oli also expressed dissatisfaction that those who did not support the party in the past have now been vocal in calling for its reorganization. That was the cover story of the day. Now we move ahead with other updates. Nepal World Corporation says regular sales and distribution of LPG gas will resume from Monday through authorized vendors appointed by gas industries. Consumers needing LPG cylinders have been advised to contact their preferred authorized vendor to purchase gas. The corporation said it has also distributed 9,568 LPG cylinders through temporary distribution centers at various locations across Kathmandu Valley to meet the needs of essential consumers. Moving on, Nepal's government has proposed a major overhaul of the Nepal Law Commission, seeking to put the law minister at its helm and expand its role in drafting and researching laws. The bill also proposes giving the commission a direct role in helping provincial and local governments prepare legislation within 90 days of a request. Diksha Wasti along with Solojat Dahal brings us this report.
The Nepal government has registered a bill in the House of Representatives proposing major changes to the structure and responsibilities of the Nepal Law Commission, the country's statutory body for legal research and legislative support. The bill proposes making the Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs the chairperson of the commission, under which the chairperson must have qualifications equivalent to those of a Supreme Court judge. It also proposes one vice chairperson and 3 full-time members who would receive service facilities equivalent to officials of Nepal's constitutional commissions. The government says the proposed changes are intended to improve the Commission's performance and expand its role in legal research, reform and legislative drafting. Under the bill, the Commission could create a roster of experts and hire specialists when it does not have sufficient manpower for a specific study or investigation. It would also be authorized to draft bills for federal ministries when legislation is required based on detailed research and study. The proposed amendments expand the Commission's research responsibilities to include studying reforms in criminal and civil law, examining whether Nepal should join international treaties, and making recommendations on such matters. The bill also aims to make Nepal's lawmaking process more systematic, consistent, and qualitative. The major provision relates to provincial and local governments. Under Nepal's federal system, provincial and local governments have legislative responsibilities in areas assigned to them by the Constitution. The bill proposes that the Commission draft necessary legislation for provinces and local governments within 90 days when formally requested. If a province or local government requests a model law, the Commission would similarly be required to submit the draft proposal to the Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs within 90 days. The government says the proposed provisions would help provincial and local governments develop laws more efficiently while prompting greater consistency across Nepal's 3 levels of government. The bill has now entered the parliamentary process and must be discussed and approved by Parliament before it can become law. If enacted, the amendment would give the Nepal Law Commission a broader role in legal research and legislative drafting while strengthening coordination between federal, provincial, and local governments.
The use of artificial intelligence or AI is expanding across manufacturing, education, healthcare, finance and public services. In Nepal, discussions are intensifying on using AI as a driver of economic growth and development. A workshop on the issue was held in Bhaktapur, bringing together experts for discussions on Nepal's AI prospects and challenges. National Planning Commission member Professor Dr. Sudan Jha said AI could both displace jobs and create new opportunities, making it necessary to update education and skills training. Experts said Nepal should focus not only on adopting AI but also on developing technology, research, entrepreneurship and skilled human resources. With the implementation of the National AI Policy 2082, experts called for greater focus on quality data, digital infrastructure, investment, cybersecurity and skilled workforce development. Nepal's District Administration Office in Morang has sealed 7 eye hospitals in Biratnagar for allegedly violating health service laws and operating standards. The facilities were sealed on August 12 and 13 following inspections. Authorities said the hospitals were not complying with national laws and standards governing health institutions. The hospital operators, however, have challenged the action, arguing that the district administration exceeded its jurisdiction. They say the facilities fall under the authority of the Provincial Health Directorate. Now, the operators have formed a protest committee and warned of further action if the hospitals are not reopened. Nepali educationist and professor Harsanarayan Thobarel has died at the age of 90 in Calgary, Canada, after a prolonged battle with Parkinson's disease. Thobarel served Tribhuvan University, Nepal's oldest and largest university, for 36 years in various roles, including professor, campus chief, dean and executive director of the Center for Educational Research, Innovation and Development. He also served as Nepal's ambassador to India and Bhutan in 1994-95 and was a member of the commission that investigated the Dastunga incident. Thobarel played an active role in Nepal's 1990 democratic movement, leading the Professors Association, and later contributed to children's education and welfare through the organization Setu Guras. Thobarel had been living in Canada with his daughter for several years before his death. Time now for international updates, but before that, let's have a quick recap of our headlines. At least 4 killed and 6 injured in landslide and western Nepal. 200 displaced residents sheltered as heavy rain raises further risk. Indian Army Chief arrives in Nepal for a 4-day visit. Honorary general rank to be conferred. Opposition Nepali Congress establishment faction ends national conference. Rejects special convention, calls for 15th general convention. Iran links Hormuz shipping resumption to U.S. guarantees. Tehran continues Oman talks as Qatar rejects pilot detention claim. 51 killed and thousands evacuated post-Indonesia earthquake. 7.7 magnitude quake triggers landslides and blocks roads. And Bangladesh makes history with test win over Australia. 9-wicket victory gives visitors 1-0 series lead. At least 5 people have been killed in overnight Russian strikes on Ukraine, according to Ukrainian officials, as Moscow and Kyiv continue an escalating exchange of drone and missile attacks. Ukraine said its forces shot down 3 Russian missiles and nearly 100 drones during the overnight barrage. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said about 600 Ukrainian drones were launched towards the Russian capital overnight, describing the attack as one of the largest in recent times. In Russia, a warehouse belonging to Wild Berries, one of the country's largest online retailers, was also hit. Russian officials said air defenses intercepted drones targeting Moscow and surrounding areas. The latest strikes come amid a sharp escalation in long-range attacks by both sides in recent weeks, with Russia and Ukraine increasingly targeting military, industrial and logistics infrastructure far from the front line. In other news, strong winds and torrential rain are lashing Hawaii after Category 1 Hurricane Lala skirted Big Island on Saturday. Hawaii Governor Josh Green said Lala got closer to South Point area, where a person died in weather-related car accident. Lala gained hurricane strength on Saturday after generating 130 km/h wind speeds, which have since peaked at 91, which could dump up to 63 centimeters of rain and produce a 3-foot storm surge. Tens of thousands have been left without power, and officials have warned people to prepare for life-threatening conditions, including floods and mudslides. The storm is forecast to continue moving westward just south of Hawaii into Sunday morning. Japanese scientists are readying a mission to Mars' moons to retrieve samples that may unlock the origins of the solar system and life on Earth, although a rival Chinese mission aims to make it back first. The Unmanned Martian Moons Exploration, MMX, set to blast off from Tanegashima Space Center in the coming months, could also lay the groundwork for humans visiting the Red Planet. The spacecraft, revealed to media last Thursday, will stay in Mars orbit for around 3 years and will attempt to land on Phobos. Scientists hope samples from Phobos will provide clues about whether the moon is a captured asteroid or was formed from material ejected by a massive impact on Mars. Japan's mission is also expected to test technologies that could support future robotic and human exploration of the Martian system. Moving on, Hong Kong-born giant panda twins Jia Jia and Day Day celebrated their second birthday at Ocean Park, drawing large crowds despite rainy weather. The twins, who remain with their mother, could soon be separated as they approach the age when pandas typically begin living independently. The pandas have become a major tourist attraction, with visitors returning regularly to see and photograph them. Authorities are also launching panda-themed buses, trams and exhibitions through the birthday month as part of the celebrations. The birthday celebration also highlights Hong Kong's growing efforts to promote conservation awareness while using the popular pandas to attract visitors. Time now for the business updates.
German car maker Opel is cutting jobs at its historic Rüsselsheim plant as weak sales and mounting pressure on Germany's auto industry threaten the factory's future. CEO Florian Hüttel is pursuing cost reductions and a partnership with Chinese electric vehicle maker Leapmotor as part of efforts to keep the site competitive. The strategy reflects growing competition from Chinese car makers, which are rapidly expanding their presence in Europe's electric vehicle market. Opel says cooperation with Chinese manufacturers has become an increasingly important part of adapting to the changing automotive industry. Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu has identified the relocation of Male Commercial Harbour to Thilafushi as the government's top infrastructure priority, saying the project will provide a major boost to the economy. The government aims to open the new port on November 11 next year, Muizzu said, as construction progresses on the industrial island. The project is intended to address space constraints at the existing harbour and create a modern logistics hub capable of operating around the clock. The planned facility will include a container terminal, multi-purpose terminals, cold storage facilities for perishable goods, and bonded warehouses, with the government targeting international standards. A Chinese container ship has sailed for Europe via the Arctic as part of a new weekly service designed to cut shipping times by around half. The Dubai Tower departed from Ningbo, one of the world's largest container ports, and will travel through the Bering Strait before heading west along Russia's northern coast. The new route could reduce transit times and fuel costs for carriers while opening a faster trade link between China and Europe. However, environmental groups warn that increased commercial activity in Arctic could put additional pressure on the region's fragile ecosystem. Recurring heat waves in Paris are hurting outdoor businesses as extreme temperatures reduce foot traffic and tourist numbers. Businesses that rely on tourists and passing customers are particularly exposed as extreme heat has shortened trading hours and discouraged outdoor shopping. Second-hand booksellers and other street vendors near Notre Dame say fewer customers are visiting on the hottest days, putting pressure on daily sales. The disruption highlights the growing economic impact of more frequent heat waves on Paris's tourism-dependent small businesses.
Time now for sports update. Nepal's A cricket team has been given a formal send-off ahead of the Top End T20 series in Australia, running from August 21st to 30. The Nepal Cricket Association has selected a 15-member squad for the tournament with Anil Shah named captain. The squad includes Kushal Purthel, Lokesh Bam, Tirtharaj Das, Mayan Yadav, Pawan Saraf, Deepak Dumre, Kushal Malla, Rashid Khan, Narayan Joshi, Akash Chand, Shahbab Alam, Bipin Khatri, Yuvraj Khatri and Rijan Dhakal. Nepal will play 6 league matches in the tournament. According to the published schedule, Nepal will begin its campaign against host anti-strike on August 21st. The Nepal Sports Journalist Forum has announced 5 nominees for the People's Choice category of the 23rd NSJF Pulses Sports Award 2082. The nominees are volleyball player Meena Sunar, football Pooja Rana, karate athlete Sanumaya Singh, cricketer Sher Molla and mixed martial artist Rabindra Dhat. The winner will be decided through a combination of public and sports community votes, with social media votes accounting for a half of the total. The award ceremony is scheduled for September 3rd. Time for the weather updates, first from Nepal and then around the world. Now, before wrapping up, let's do a quick recap of the headlines once again. At least 4 killed and 6 injured in landslide in western Nepal. 200 displaced residents sheltered as heavy rain raises further risk. Indian Army Chief arrives in Nepal for 4-day visit. Honorary general rank to be conferred. Opposition Nepali Congress Establishment Faction ends National Conference, rejects special convention, calls for 15th General Convention. Iran links Hormuz shipping resumption to U.S. guarantees. Tehran continues Oman talks as Qatar rejects pilot detention claim. 51 killed and thousands evacuated post-Indonesia earthquake. 7.7 magnitude quake triggers landslides and blocks roads. And Bangladesh makes history with test win over Australia. 9-wicket victory gives visitors 1-0 series lead. That's all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Ipulagi Singh Lama. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.